It looked like everybody staring at the camera, waiting on the
Nope.
red
It's just
light to
like wait,
happen.
wait for it, wait for
Wait
it,
for it.
wait
Don't say
for it,
nothing.
wait.
SummerSlam season.
Don't you say nothing.
Let's go 0-1.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, degenerates. Degenerates. Proudly brings to you the 6-time tag team champions of the world. No, not quite, but the red light is on, and it is another Wednesday, which means you have a front row seat to the most intelligent wrestling show on the face of the planet, the Wrestling Realm Now podcast. Gentlemen, we're fresh off the Great American Wrestling Weekend. We had some aftermath. We had a lot of things going, and we are 2 weeks away from SummerSlam. And there's a lot going on, but there's a few things we got to get into tonight. And of course, we have to talk about Roman Reigns reuniting with his cousin Jey Uso. Are we thinking about a bloodline reunion at SummerSlam? I don't know, but guess what? Of course, we're going to get into all that and more. TNA, is it officially back? And Bryan Danielson had a hot take that we Daniel Bryan fans are definitely going to sound off on. So, as usual, buckle your seatbelt, sit back and relax and enjoy the ride, because the Wrestling Realm Now podcast is here to ease your fears. Let's get it.
Houston, we have a problem.
Yes!
That was nice and full. Welcome to the Wrestling Realm Now podcast, where we take a deeper dive into the world of professional wrestling. Now, I'm your host, the realness himself, the tall man. Yes, I am very tall. The realness, Dwayne Allen, in the building, and he is your host, Mr. Super Producer, Brother Hugh has the third H to the A to the S, T to the H to the E, 3 to the R to the D is in the building, and he is your host, not just any guy, but the Belt King himself, Brandon the Guy is back in the building, and he is your host, the founder, the creator of the Wrestling Realm, the heart and soul of what we do, and still a heel in 2025, going into SummerSlam. Brian H. Waters in the building, and welcome to another episode of the Wrestling Realm Now podcast. Brothers, we are back, and we are back in full force. We are 2 weeks away from SummerSlam. The summer's been hot, and it's only getting hotter. Now, we have a lot to get into, and no, this is not a SummerSlam preview show. That is next week, but there are some things that need addressing, some things that the people want to hear us have some conversations about. But before we do that, gentlemen, talk to the people. How you guys feeling? We're back for an episode. As usual, there's quite a bit of wrestling to discuss, but how's everybody feeling as we get this party started?
I'm feeling phenomenal. I'm feeling phenomenal.
I like that word you used, Brother Guy. That was smart. I like that.
You see what I did there?
Phenomenal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's how I'm feeling. I'm pretty sure you're feeling phenomenal too, aren't you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You know I am.
Okay.
Did you like the music?
Speaking of phenomenal, I forgot a phenomenal graphic. That's okay.
That's crazy.
Anyways,
Well,
but
Of all things.
I
Of
wish
all
I could
things.
say the same, but I'm gonna be honest. I'm amongst the rest of America mourning the loss of the great Malcom-Jamal Warner. So I want to give him props before we get started with the show. All love out the Theo, as we would call him, and everybody rocking Gordon Gartrell.
Why did you call him
Halloween?
He was getting away from the Cosby Show. Why are we calling him Theo?
No, because that's a term of endearment, right? And I'm gonna tell you why.
Go ahead, tell us.
Good old wrestling fan, long time wrestling fan, Topanga, said that.
And you call her Topanga.
Yeah.
Right.
So follow me. I'm going somewhere with this.
Go ahead. This is gonna be good.
Follow me.
Daniel official said, you work all your career, the hope to have like a memorable role.
Right.
So she said it doesn't bother her when people call her Topanga. She said, matter of fact, her middle name is like Ashley. It is Ashley. She says it's like basic, no real meaning. Or I think it was either Ashley or Elizabeth. Whatever it was, it wasn't like it was a grandmother's name, or like in my case, my middle name is my father's name. So she said she's going to change her name to Topanga. As you can see, I'll be in tune to the Boy Meets World podcast.
It's a really good podcast, by the way. So
yeah,
I applaud you. Okay, see, I like that. I like the fact that Topanga's embracing being Topanga.
Right.
I'm not going to scream this as loud.
I'd love to have her here.
That would be fun. Let's get Danielle Fischel on the show, maybe, and then we can do her show. We can do Boy Meets World.
Yeah, you know, so
somebody book it.
Exactly. So you know, shout out to Malcom-Jamal Warner. You know, like I said, Theo is a term of endearment. Not that he couldn't outlive the role. We know he went on to play other great roles. I was actually just watching this podcast earlier today with him and Keisha Knight Pulley. It was like a few months ago, and just to see like that's a true brother sisterhood. Like they had that, even like they said like how their spouses get along, and the sad part was like both of their daughters are like 3 months apart.
Oh no,
and they were tight. So I was just looking at that, and I was like, man, you know, so that, you know, it's not a lot of celebrity deaths. You know, unfortunately, we're wrestling fans, so we get, you know, there's periods, right, where we get hit with them. But there's a few that like cross over, you know what I mean? And this was one that like hit me. So I wanted to start off and, you know, send love to his family.
Well, good. That is very gracious of you, Bryan H. So definitely thoughts and prayers to Malcom-Jamal Warner's family and friends and all those who've been touched by his presence and his work, and you know, all the things that he's done, especially for our community, for the Black community in Hollywood and television, movies, and more in directing. He's such a talented director as well.
Real quick, television, quick TV flex, TV audience ratings and programming. You remember spending a lot of time on the Cosby Show with Dr. Adamo?
Absolutely.
And the dominance it had over American television, you know. So it's just like, you know, I said, we're not just marks on a podcast. That's what we study. That's what we do.
And listen,
programming and rating slots.
Another TV flex for programming and rating slots. Do you all know the one show that dethroned the popularity of the Cosby Show?
Simpsons.
The Simpsons, absolutely. so it goes to show you how America was headed. What dethroned the Cosby Show's dominance? It was the 40-year run of The Simpsons. So there you have it. Well, like I said, with that being said, everybody knows that yes, he was. Absolutely. Yes, he was. Malcom-Jamal definitely was. He was a Queen PR absolutely. Put Patricia's comment back up there. I'd like to read that because I think a lot of that's Queen PR said that he was a great spoken word artist, poet, and a director. So he absolutely was. Definitely one of the shining stars of our community. And I mean, just tragedy. It's terrible. It's sorely be missed.
Yeah, one of the people who, you know, it's a lot of people but he's definitely in the people who set the tone and set the path so we could do what we do and be media people.
Absolutely. And like I said, he definitely broke away from just a lot of the norms, especially coming up in that area, you know, in Hollywood, and then the 80s as well as where we are now. So
this is what I learned the other day. I didn't know he directed the Wretched episode. We all know the famous line from that one.
I
was waiting for Brother Hugh because that's what
the big fun with the Ratchets in Baltimore.
My bad. I dropped the ball.
Fun. Yeah, big fun.
Big fun.
But with the Ratchets.
In Baltimore.
With the Ratchets. Into me.
That's
Keep
crazy.
talking to me. I was like, oh.
Right.
Get up to your room. Rudy, get up to your room.
Right.
So, like I said,
when I talk to you, I ask you a question.
So if there's any positive we can take away, it's his body of work that is, like I said, contributed to so many great moments in television, like you said, spoken word, directing, you know, all the way across the board. So definitely shout out to Malcom-Jamal Warner. He's definitely a real one, solid brother. And like I said, thoughts and prayers to his family and friends and all those who are affected by such a tragic loss, such a sad thing to even have to deal with. But thank you, Bryan H. I think it's important for us as Black men to acknowledge, you know what I mean, someone as strong in our community as Malcom-Jamal Warner. So thank you definitely for that. Now, you're also going to thank me for this because every Tuesday at 8 p.m., there is the show that graces its presence on the airways of the wrestling realm known as Championship Culture. That is correct. Brandon, the guy, Belt King and super producer, Brother Hugh, they bring you the latest, they bring you the greatest, they bring you all the intelligent conversation, perspectives, unboxing reviews, so on and so forth. And they are well into season 4 every Tuesday, 8 p.m. on youtube.com/the wrestling realm and the various social media platforms you can find Championship Culture. So with that being said, we have to get into what exactly this Tuesday's episode of Championship Culture was all about. So, Brother Hugh, Brandon the Guy, Championship Culture, season 4. You guys want to tell the world what this episode was all about? Yeah? If you're tapped into the world of professional wrestling, they must say if you're tapped into professional wrestling during this time, in a good chunk of our show, you would know or have an idea of what could have possibly been an episode, especially during this time period. But I will digress. I will let the brothers go and go ahead and divulge into their show themselves. Gentlemen, tell the people.
Someone got real excited on Sunday and decided to go crazy. They said, "Look, Tuesday we're gonna do something phenomenal on Tuesday, Brother Hugh. We're gonna do something very phenomenal."
I said, "You better get ready." I said, "Get ready to fly." He was like, "What are you talking about?" I said, I am. He was like, I don't understand. What are you talking about?
That's how you get the news.
He didn't know the song. I was like, come on, you're killing me. He was like, what are you saying?
First version, the second version. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, bro. I don't know what song it is. They just played the song.
He didn't share his enthusiasm. You're like dropping these nuggets. He's like, bro, I'm not picking up what you're putting down. Talk to me, please.
Right.
I was like, every day in my life, I like to jump. He was like, I don't know any of this. I said, oh, Jesus, we got to catch you up. It was so bad. I said, come on now. You got to know something. And in this episode of Championship Culture, of course, with the belt over my shoulder, one of the best, well, let me say this. TNA has always produced very good heavyweight championship. Notice I said TNA. I didn't say Global Force. Let me be very specific because I know these are in the note.
We don't talk about that era.
I know that. We don't talk about that. But this championship has a special place in history, especially from that 2011 to 2017, the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. If you want to see Brother Hugh break down secrets about this belt that not a lot of people know, some little tidbits, the design, version 1 and version 2, even to the point that you will learn that there's no red stones on here. And he swear that makes me sad. But everything about the design, the lineage, the champions, even what option C is, because it was introduced on this era thing. So I would encourage you to go back and watch that episode, especially when Brother Hugh breaks that. If you like championship belts, when he breaks this sucker down, you learn some things about it. I'm pretty sure the common person didn't even know from looking at it.
Brother Dwayne, real quick.
Yes, sir.
Real quick, Brother Dwayne. Who wore that title better? Who wore it better?
Come on now. You know who wore it better.
We got to hear it.
The phenomenal AJ Styles. And you're going to laugh at the era that I enjoyed him most.
Okay.
All right.
Go ahead. I was like, you finished.
Okay.
No, you're right. Okay. No, I was going to ask Brother Hollywood.
Yeah, Brian.
What you got, Hollywood?
Which one?
What you mean, which one? The belt we just showed, brother.
Oh, who wore it better?
He was sleeping.
Bobby Lashley.
See?
Headband Bobby.
Headband Bobby. That's exactly.
Bobby Lashley had a good run.
Dripping.
I was never. The crazy part is I did not like Headband Bobby, but man, he was a dog during this time period. But
he definitely was.
If was there anything else you want to get into, Brother Hugh, about this particular show? Because apparently you You were the one that broke this thing down. But as before I get into my notes, with this, what was the biggest thing that you, or the, I guess the most shocking thing that you learned about this particular championship and how it came about, Brother Hugh?
Actually, I was just shocked at the backstory on version 1 and version 2. I thought it was just one version, to be honest. Never paid attention to the details
Right.
until I did a little research and found out, look, that particular title that's right there, that's the version 1. As you can see, you got the nickel plate. It's still right there under the TNA. It's still right in your face, live in the charge right there. But I'm here at version 2. That nickel plate part under the T, the N and the A, is cut. It looks cleaner. Brother Brandon could probably show it if he has the title nearby. Give you a little bit.
Of course I do.
Yeah, there it
Of
is
course
right
I
there.
do.
See, if you look at the main plate, you see that?
Oh,
The gold
that's
backing now? Yeah, it's nice and clean. Even to the heavyweight,
Yep.
it's a little bit bigger, broader, smacks you in the face. You had 7 side plates on the initial strap, including the property plate. The property plate is now gone because the strap was too long. Also, the original tip made the strap a little bit longer. Sting didn't like it. He couldn't fit around his waist.
Wow.
So they got rid of it. They shortened up the strap, got rid of the property plate, cleaned it up on the main plate a little bit, and voila, that's what you had right there.
That is wonderful. And guess what? I cannot wait to talk about this particular championship. And of course, I'm long-winded and I like telling stories, but this is the place for me to actually do it. So
There
with
it
that
is.
being said, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, if I cannot be on an episode of Championship Culture, if I cannot get my thoughts out and disrupt the show, I always grab my pen and I grab my paper and I take notes. And it is turned into one of my favorite segments known as I've Got Notes. Story time with the realness, and I control the button so I can take it long. Yes.
Yippee!
I didn't forget, Brian H. This is for you. Ooh, that sounds terrible. I'm so sorry. I don't know what I gotta stop doing that. It's just for the sake of the gimmick, and I feel bad every time I do it. I'm not happy about it, but I've been doing it ever since the beginning. I'm sorry.
Do it again. Do it again.
Yeah, let me see it again. Let's see. One more
One
time.
more time. One
One
more
more.
time. One more time.
If I was
Come on. Come on. Come on with it. It's just me, Oos. Oh,
Yeah,
no? Okay. Sorry.
you look just like Jey Uso doing it, by the way. But yes, I have got notes, man. The TNA Championship. This is titled from 2011 to 2017. Now, let me tell you about the backstory with me and this particular championship, because I think the world of professional wrestling revolves around me. I really do. So when they first introduced this belt, of course, even though I was grown realness at the time, I still was not a fan of change, because everybody knows that I like it. The Winged Eagle is obviously top 3 favorite championships of all time that defined my wrestling fandom. And I love the first TNA World Heavyweight Championship. I call it TNA's Winged Eagle. You know, anybody who knows me or heard me on Championship Culture, they've heard me say this before. So I was such a huge fan of it. But of course, Jeff Hardy got involved and things went funky. So the TNA decides TNA decides to introduce a new championship, and I don't do well with change. It takes me a long time to adjust to new championship belts. Now, some of them grow on me, some of them don't. So when they debuted this championship with Sting and Jeff Hardy, that was when it debuted, correct? When Sting had to reintroduce it because Jeff Hardy was, they were moving on from that direction. And of course, Jeff Hardy had his custom Jeff Hardy Face Championship, which I think is absolutely atrocious, but I applaud his creativity. It popped up and I saw it. I said, what in the world is this? I do not like this. Did not like it at all. I was not a fan of this particular championship. And I was cool at first. It didn't bother me. But as usual, something kind of happened. I don't know when that time period was or when the shift happened, but I think is when I began to just go back and like watch TNA the way I was supposed to watch it, enjoy it for what it was, not for what I wanted it to be. Kind of like, you know, what we did with AEW, where it's like our expectations are in one space But I remember when Bobby Roode won this championship, and I remember I watched Bobby Roode from the Fox Sports Net days, of Team Canada to, becoming Robert Roode, kind of a rich snob. Him and Tracy Brooks was his valet / manager.
Tracy Brooks. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was, when he finally kind of broke through. This is during the TNA wrestling day. This is when TNA was really trying to make a push, right? It was really trying to trying to kind of I don't want to say compete with WWE, even though they said it, but they were trying to carve their dent in the world of professional wrestling, and they had an audience. Don't get me wrong. So it's not like they were a struggling promotion, at least not from the acknowledging standpoint. The people knew who TNA was, and I remember looking at him, and I was like, man, that actually looks really good around his waist. And I began to watch matches and stuff like that, and I was like, you know what? This belt is starting to grow on me. And I think by the time I really started liking this belt, they had already changed the name to Impact. They had already moved on. And I was like, man, that belt. And it was when they were beginning to sell it was not too long after they were done selling the replicas. I was so pissed. Not like I could afford it anyway, but I was like, man, I want one of these. They were selling the TNA Championship replicas, and I didn't get a chance to get one like I was ever going to get one. But still, I was hoping to catch it because they didn't sell that many. They had on TNAshop.com, and I was like, man, I really digging this belt. So, I started looking at it, obsessing over it, seeing different matches and stuff like that. And I was like, you know what? This belt really grew. This is like the undisputed, the undisputed championship, the first one. Like, okay. I didn't like it in its prime, but I liked it in syndication. See, that's another television reference. And that's when I was like, okay, I need this one too. I like this one a lot. And it was Bobby Roode that made me look at it differently. And then, like, when James Storm beat Bobby Roode for it, I was like, okay, that era started to really, really made me look at it completely different. So I want to talk about my favorites who held this champ, because the conversation goes into who wore it better. I love this belt when AJ Styles had it towards the end of his career. I remember AJ was on his way out the door, but by this time he was turning into the AJ that, what we would eventually see be the career defining version of AJ Styles, in my opinion, of course. And, he was starting to get into it. And I remember they had the match between him and, what was he called? Was he called Magnum at the time?
Magnus.
Magnus, he was Dixie Carter's hand chosen TNA person. And it was one of those, if AJ Styles loses, he's got to leave TNA. But if he wins, I remember even he had the championship and he went over to Wrestle One. I don't think it's in Wrestle One is not a promotion anymore in Japan, but that's where I first say Sonata. And I think what's his name? The Great Muta was involved in that promotion at one point. So, but I remember he went over there with the TNA championship, and I was like, that's not even a TNA championship. It looked like a replica. And I was like, oh, that's cool, because they're doing this champion versus champion thing, winner take all, where AJ Styles was the rightful winner, but he had left TNA, started going over Japan, and he came back, and they had the match between, Nick Aldis, who's Magnus at the time, versus AJ Styles. And, they both had belts. Clearly, one was a replica, like a TNA shop exclusive, because just the color of the belt, us belt guys, you recognize, like, I know a TV belt versus one they grabbed from the back out of the plastic. But really cool. And I remember being so disappointed. It's because I was like, okay, look, at least we're gonna get one good match out of them. And then it wasn't even a match. It was a whole dusty finish. It wasn't even a dusty finish. It was a dusty start, and then a dusty middle, and then a dusty finish. I was like, bro, we got all shenanigans. We didn't even get a legitimate match. I figured maybe it was like they're gonna just dog it out, and then at the end you have your shenanigans. So Bobby Roode was the one that really made me pay attention to this championship. And of course, when James Storm won it, that was my favorite era of Cowboy James Storm. That's when I was like, okay, I'm seeing these guys that came in as tag team. One guy was in America's Most Wanted, and then it became Beer Money, and I was never a Beer Money guy, because I always liked Bobby Roode as a singles, and I liked James Storm as Cowboy James Storm on his own. But I always hated Sting with his championship. Can you guys imagine why? Because let me just tell you, I'm not gonna waste your time. His stupid gear. When he came out that, I said, bro, why Sting? If Stone Cold Steve Austin can come out, and more on him later, can come out with black boots, black trunks. If Goldberg can do it, you don't need to change the signature outfit into these dumb looking. I hated a lot of Sting's gears in TNA during that era, but that's what made me not like Sting's run with the championship. And but yes, honorable mentions. Who wore better? In my mind, it's always going to be AJ Styles, but Bobby Roode is really up there. If it wasn't for AJ Styles that last run, I definitely would say Bobby Roode. Of course, James Storms of honorable mention. Bobby Lashley, the Destination America era of TNA. It's underrated. It's underrated. But yeah, Bobby Lashley.
That was during that time you had to find it. You couldn't find TNA. You had to go look.
Yeah, no, that wasn't everybody didn't have Destination America. This was transitioning into Impact. You know what I mean? But Bobby Lashley versus Jeff Hardy to me was always an underrated feud and match. Like that was one of my favorite matches when Jeff Hardy did that swanton spot onto the steel steps. One of the best matches I've seen both of them have. You know what I mean? So there was some bright spots during that era and stuff like that. And of course, another amount of honorable mentions is Matt Hardy. When Matt Hardy first won the TNA championship, he didn't have it for long. I was like, finally, he's the last one out of Edge and Christian, and you know, and the hardest to have a world title run. Bully had a run, and you know, Devon kind of just, I don't think he ever really, you know, he was never a single star. Let's just call a spade a spade.
He's
Yeah, but I can't wait to talk about Bryan Danielson's favorite tag team today. But you know what I mean?
His favorite tag team.
but yes, Matt Hardy looked good with the championship. He didn't have a legit run to me. You know, that was you know, we had seen Matt Hardy in Ring of Honor, you know, doing his thing, and you know, he kind of made his way back up there. So long story short, but it's always really long. There you have it. Those are my notes from this week's show. And if you want to go back and watch the full episode and get the full breakdown and the conversations and find out who Brother God thinks wore his championship better and find out who Brother Hugh wore his championship better, head over to youtube.com/The Wrestling Room, playlist Championship Culture. Go back and watch this episode, all the other episodes in season 4, all the episodes in season 3, all the episodes in season 2, and all the episodes in season 1. Not to mention the bonus episodes, including Santa Guy. That's right. There's a couple of unboxing videos that are quite entertaining. So,
Please don't go let that go.
Unwrapping happiness.
Bingo, unwrapping happiness. Except Brian, because I gotta ball this up. Here we go. Look at that.
Crunchy.
Nobody saw that coming. I threw it behind me. So there you have it. Don't forget, Championship Culture is every Tuesday, 8 p.m. youtube.com/The Wrestling Realm. Gentlemen, let's not waste any time. Let's get into the meat and the potatoes of today's show because we have a few things we have to discuss. Like I said,
we just on my television.
Who's it? Is it Team 3D?
The Dudley Boys versus Test and APA. SummerSlam 01.
Yeah, we just, you know, Bryan is well into his SummerSlam marathon. Got to get himself right.
This is actually the first one time I put one on.
Really? You're showing your age, Bryan H. You always make time for your SummerSlam.
Let me tell you what happened.
Go ahead.
Tell you what happened. I bought MLB The Show.
Oh, well, there you go.
Say
less. Yep.
And I'm about to watch this. One of my favorite SummerSlam feuds is Jericho and Rhino.
That was a good one. I like that. You heard that, Bryan? Brother Guy? Jericho in his prime when you liked him.
After AEW World Championship before.
Okay, there it is. on the record.
Yeah, AEW after he lost the AEW Championship. Before that, that's my mark.
That's not a bad mark. We're 2 weeks just away from SummerSlam. So, like I said, there's a lot to unload, but there is important things going on that is leading us to a first two-night SummerSlam ever in WWE history. TKO is trying to count all their money. Don't fret, Bryan H. You're gonna have fun. But with that being said, we're going to jump right into the show. We're going to ask our co-hosts Apollo Creed and Rocky Balboa to do us the ceremonious thing and help us get the show started by ringing the bell. Gentlemen,
want to ring the bell? Ding, ding.
Thank you, fellas. Every week we do a segment, called "What Did You Watch?" where the brothers purposely indulge and watch plenty of professional wrestling just to make sure our minds are in the correct space to have these most intellectual conversations. Now, we know what we watch, but like I said, sometimes we like to share with the world where our minds are. That's for you guys to understand us as wrestling fans, all that stuff. And well, so without further ado, gentlemen, I want to ask you the $1 million question that we ask every week. What did you watch? Brought to you by good friends at SeatGeek. If you're looking to purchase tickets to concerts, live shows, sporting events, and more, head over to SeatGeek.com where you can use our promo code Wrestling Realm for any one-time purchase of $50 or more. That's promo code Wrestling Realm on any one-time purchase of $50 or more. Good brothers, what did you watch? People in the comments, go ahead and just don't tell you anybody I'm telling you this, but go ahead and put it in the comments what you watched as well. So, brothers, what did you watch this week?
Not everybody at the same time.
All right, let me go first because everybody's like, let me go
I
ahead.
told you, SummerSlam 01. It's that time, so I'm this. I did a randomizer though, because I'm trying to figure out which SummerSlam I wanted to watch.
Mm-hmm.
And they said like 2010. I was like, no, don't want to do that. So then I was like, I'm gonna just find one from the Attitude Era, and that one came up. I looked, and you know how Peacock tells you like what you recently watched,
Right?
And I watched the dud that was SummerSlam '99. It's and the crazy thing is, I realized with 1999, my favorite stuff happened on Raw that year, where the SummerSlam was mid. Survivor Series was, all about the Austin getting hit by a car, so we was robbed of what could have been the greatest triple threat match ever. Yeah, and then, the Royal Rumble, it wasn't bad. It's just 98 and 2000 was better, if we being honest. So it wasn't a bad one. Now, WrestleMania 15 was better than, sorry, Ronas, 14. And
I mean, it was. I just,
But yeah, that's the only one. But like the Raws were good now in 2001. That's when it felt like this wouldn't have felt like the product was getting fun again, because it felt like it took that hit after they bought WCW, and then Invasion didn't give us what we wanted it to give us. Even though hindsight being 2020, I understand why everything played out the way it did. But I mean, from this night was all about let the bodies hit the floor. I think they played that song as much as like 6 or 7 times. But this when it felt like
they paid for it.
Yeah. And this goes to show you needed the Rock around. Like Rock came back after the Invasion, but because he was in Hollywood, it was like, nah, bro.
And he still wasn't the same. He wasn't the same after that. I don't care what nobody says.
Nah.
Oh, see, I like this Rock leading in that stuff with him and Jericho.
I'm not going to get into it. This is not unpopular opinion week, so
but we know Roman Reigns is the biggest star.
Oh gosh, here we go. Let's move on.
He wanted to talk about that.
Roman Reigns has enough spotlight in today's show because we definitely have to talk about Roman Reigns and Jey Uso reuniting. Yeah, listen, I'm not mad at Roman, but good brothers. What else? What did you guys watch? I can't wait to tell you. I have a hot take. I know it's not nothing special, but trust me, I can't wait to say this.
Oh, so I'll just go quick because mine is quick. After the announcement of AJ Styles being in TNA, they uploaded a whole.
I knew you were going to go TNA.
I know you saw it. Did you see the playlist when they uploaded all those matches? And it's something I totally forgot about him and Booker T. And we can always date Booker T career by the length of his hair, right? And I was like, oh yeah, this was Booker T was back on his A game, as in like, oh yeah, we're gonna do this. And him and AJ for the Legends title. Then of course they even had the match with him and Jerry Lynn. I forgot how good that match was.
That was early years.
Yeah, and him and Samoa Joe, their chemistry is probably the best I've seen them paired with anybody else. I usually like you can have somebody else, like even him and Christopher Daniels. They don't have as much chemistry as him and Samoa Joe had.
Better than him and Kurt Angle. Because at one point,
Samoa Joe and Kurt Angle.
No, better than Kurt Angle and AJ Styles. Because at one point we were sick of seeing that. That was like Randy Orton, John Cena at one point.
I think that's what ruined it for me because it was like but they kept coming back to Samoa Joe and him because they wrestled each other at different eras of each of their career. It was like, and each time just got good. It reminds you of the chemistry that Chris Jericho had with the other Chris, and it was like, it was like that's
great way of putting it.
Yeah, so it was like, oh, this was so good, and then it even had the match. Did you remember when he fought Jay Lethal?
Yes, yep, I remember all that. I was AJ Styles guy.
Jay Lethal, and I was like, oh, so I literally have just been indulging in that, and I didn't get all the way down the playlist because it still got some other stuff because My next thing up was going to be AJ Styles versus Shawn Waltman because I do remember that
Oh
match, but I want
yes.
to know.
Oh, you kidding me?
I
That's one of my
remember that
favorite
match, but I
Shawn
want to
Waltman
see if it still
matches.
holds. Right, if it's still, it's of course it's going to hold up because look who's in it. But a lot of those AJ matches,
Yeah.
a lot of you're like, this man was really it back then.
No, he was. He was phenomenal. He was the reason I literally turned to TNA. I don't know what I was watching. And of course, back when TNA were doing their pay-per-views, their weekly, well, at the time I don't think it was weekly pay-per-views, but they were doing them
And
monthly.
$9 shows. Remember the $9 every Wednesday?
Of course, they showed the paper, back when they showed, we're dating ourselves, but back when they showed pay-per-view commercials and
Hmm.
you the TNA highlight reel. And I was like, and of course they were advertising AJ Styles versus Jeff Jarrett. And of course they show all of AJ Styles highlights. I was like, what is going on with this dude? So,
Hmm.
brother,
And I will say one thing about AJ.
Hmm?
I missed the Spinal Tap.
Come on, man, he's too old.
I missed it. I know he
Yeah,
said
no
himself
way.
he can't do all that stuff.
I
But
remember when
just
he
seeing
said it.
that, yeah, he said
Get you
I can't
back.
do half that stuff I used to do.
Reckless AJ.
Yeah, he said I can't do all that stuff anymore.
Yeah,
But he
don't
still
forget
does enough to get himself over to say he's still phenomenal. Because that Spinal Tap and that had the impact of the Canadian Destroyer at the time. Remember
yes.
when we were saying that we're like, oh,
What are
that
we
the
looking
Future
at?
Shock, the Angel Wings. Now everybody does a version of it, and then it was like the Muscle Buster and the Spinal Tap. They
Mhm.
all had those unique finishers. You're like, oh, it came out of nowhere. Even though the Styles Clash was his finisher, but when he did the Spinal Tap,
Yeah.
that was something to see.
Thank you, brother guy. I appreciate that. It's the first of all, this is going to be a TNA, not heavy show, but we're definitely going to talk about TNA Slammiversary as well. And AJ Styles returning to TNA. So, but anytime you get a chance to go back and listen and indulge in classic AJ Styles. AJ Styles is like Shawn Michaels. He had a career, like 2 different careers back to back. Like first half, second half, third half. But
Just the hair,
it's gotta be
short
the hair.
hair. Something on hair.
Short hair, naked face, and then
That's why I
as
need
his-
WWE 2K to give him a showcase mode.
I got
Oh,
a feeling that we might be
It's
close to
probably
it.
coming.
now
Yeah.
we
You see
can
the
do
Penta?
it. Because
That's what I'm
now
saying.
You see Penta getting his what you call it?
the what?
Penta getting his downloadable pack.
Yes, DLC.
That's the thing.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
saw that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
I was like, oh, it's cool.
AJ can get, if you next year or the year after next, you put an AJ Styles, maybe wait till he retire or whatever. Because now his showcase mode can't exist without TNA. So when they really do the deep dive and getting really like with this partnership, I think you could have the actual like TNA branding on stuff. If
Mhm.
they go that far, then we can get that showcase mode. Because like that's the one thing that I asked him last in Philly, like what would his top 4 moments be? And the TNA's, you can't talk about the history of AJ Styles or the history of TNA without each other. Now, for the younger audience, though, he's made so much of an impact in WWE that they can go without it. But if you're gonna be a true historian of the game, you gotta know about AJ Styles and TNA. But even if you don't, he's made that much of an impact the last 10 years in WWE. It's like, yeah, you know what? This career right here is Hall of Fame by itself.
Bingo.
And
Yeah,
I'll never forget that promo with him and Brock Lesnar when they gave him the WWE title back because Jinder wasn't working. That
Mhm.
promo to what's his name? I gotta do what I gotta do. And that whole promo, that was like the combination of his WWE career. Like, y'all broke the glass and got me and said, come on, we need you to save this match. And I'm telling you, that saved that match that year.
You ain't lying. Brother Hugh, what did you watch this week, brother?
He just mentioned Brock Lesnar, so I went back and somehow I got on King of the Ring 2002, and I watched the match between
Oh
Test
yeah,
and
you
Brock
did
Lesnar.
bring
and
that up, didn't you, this week?
Yeah.
it was so random. I don't know how it came up. I think I saw a clip or something like as I was scrolling through social media, and I was like, hold on, let me watch this match.
The
And
algorithm is
I was
finding
like,
you.
bro, yeah, right, bro, that was a good match. That's a match that slept on between
Okay.
2 big guys. And I keep telling everybody, Test was supposed to be that guy.
And your man's.
They thought he was
That
supposed
was
to
the
be.
Your
dude.
man's.
Okay, in all
Yeah.
fairness, I don't mean to cut you off, brother Hugh. He
Yeah,
was
you
going to
good.
be when he was in ECW. When he came back super jacked, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Not taking into account how he got that way. God rest his soul, but When he came back, I said, "Uh-oh, Test looks like a main event player now." But go ahead, sir.
No, I was just saying like he went toe to toe with Brock Lesnar. Of course, this was a young Brock Lesnar,
Mhm.
and if you look at that match, he should have won that match. He lost it. You know, it wasn't Brock Lesnar didn't go over clean for sure.
Mhm.
Paul
Right.
Heyman came in and did his thing, but all in all, great match. I enjoyed myself. Finished watching the rest of the King of the Ring tournament. The rest of the pay per view was it was just all right. It was just all right.
Brock didn't wear the crown either, did he?
Heck no.
No, no.
No way to
Only,
keep the crown.
did only the heels wear the crown?
Well, Brock was a
not really.
heel,
Yeah.
but
he definitely
But
was.
did only the heels wear the crown?
no,
Edge
Bret.
never wore the crown, right?
Bret Hart wore it.
Bret Ward.
Bret Ward,
Oh.
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I was about to say, was Owen Hart a heel? But
Most
it
heels
was
only.
Owen Hart.
Most of the time, it was the heels that won. If yeah.
Kinda.
Yeah, I
Stone
think
Cold
Bret was
supposed
the
to be a heel.
only
For the
baby
most
face for until Shamrock, and Shamrock it was not. They didn't even. He's the most
They
forgot
didn't
about.
even acknowledge him. It was like he
Wow.
won. It was like they moved on.
Right.
I forgot
Right.
that you guys that he even won. Thank you for telling me
Yeah,
that.
Cheap plug. Go to WrestleMania. I did my King of the Rings tier list, and you'll see that was the thing that a lot of people said they forgot about Shamrock when I
Wow.
posted it. They was like, "Wait, he
Yeah.
was the King of the Ring, yeah, '98." But look at where the direction was too in '98.
Yeah, that's
and we didn't forget about one
pointless.
king that made it, that brought it back to what it was supposed to be. King Booker.
Yeah, he took it to a different level.
Yeah.
He
But
definitely did.
was that all you watched, Brother Hugh?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. So let me
Besides
tell you.
the other stuff that went on.
You sure? You ain't
Go
watch?
ahead.
You talking about your TNA experience?
No, I'm good.
You
You
sure?
wanna talk-
Okay.
We'll talk about
talk about your TNA experience.
we'll talk a little bit more about TNA because it's a part of the show tonight. And I'll keep it moving because you know me, I'm long winded. But so I was watching you know how like they have on YouTube now the stories where they did like they find the spaces and they tell you the stories and they show you all the segments and promos and stuff that led up to a particular match, right? So somebody was doing that before WWE was on YouTube, and
Yes.
like somebody was doing it first, and then they were like, "Oh, this is a good idea," and they just kind of like adapted it because they actually had the footage. But I don't
They
remember
used the
YouTube
same
name.
title too.
Yeah, same title and everything. So and I was on YouTube. I was watching something else. And, you know, when you watch something, if you're not paying attention, YouTube will go to the next thing. Well, this popped up and it was talking about Austin. I think it was the story of Austin and Undertaker leading up to SummerSlam '98, Highway to Hell. One of the most, you know.
Yeah.
And I watched that story, and I watched Stone Cold Steve Austin, and I watched the people react to him. And I said, did I say realist? I think I'm about to have an epiphany. And then the light bulb went off, and I said, oh, there it is. And I was like, you know what? I can't wait to say this on the show. It's a bit of a hot take, but it's the truth. Stone Cold Steve Austin is the greatest professional wrestler of all time. All time. I'm talking about as far as everything he did was straight A's across the board. I'm talking like prime Steve Austin, prime Stone Cold. I'm talking about, to this day, I have never seen anybody respond the way they do when his music hits. It was the loudest thing in the world. When that glass shot us, I've never seen a man come to the ring so intense. Everything he did was so believable as a character that you couldn't tell the difference between character and individual. They had us convinced Stone Cold Steve Austin was that good that we really believed wrestling was 100% real. Like, no, see, wrestling was always the show, but because Stone Cold got involved and the boss got involved, now he's disrupting the show every week. And that was always the justification. But when you watch what he does, everything he does seems mad. It's nowhere in the world. You told me they sat in the back with a script and had a conversation about that. That's how good he was. I have not heard a fan respond to the way he walks. I have not heard fans respond to his intensity on the microphone. I have not seen a fan respond to what he did in the ring from start to finish. I said, to this day, I was in the doctor's office with somebody else, and it was a young lady and her friends, you know, working at the front desk, and they was randomly watching a Stone Cold clip. I know these young ladies were not around my age, But they were watching. They was like, yo, Stone Cold is tripping. They're like, what you watching? Like, girl, I'm watching wrestling. She said, Stone Cold, look at him. He is going insane. And I'm like, even 20 years later, people have the same response to the same footage. We don't watch everything and respond the same way as we used to, right? We all enjoy Power Rangers for what it was, but we don't respond to it the same way we did when we was in kindergarten, first grade, second grade, whatever it was. We don't respond to it the same way. When Stone Cold Steve Austin shows up on a screen today in 2025, I stop and my eyes get big out of natural feeling. I'm not doing it on purpose. It is a natural response when his music hits, the way he walks to the ring, when he's fired up on the mic. I mean, the fans never stop cheering. The pop goes up and it doesn't come down. Cody Rhodes' music hits, it goes up, it comes down. You know what I mean? Roman Reigns' music hits, it goes up, it comes down. Stone Cold Steve Austin's pop goes up at a pitch and it stays up there. The more he talks, the louder they get. The more he stuns, the louder they get. I said, bro, this is what's different. This is why we always keep going back to this era. I'm trying to tell you, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Stone Cold Steve Austin. I said, bro, to this day, I have never seen anybody respond to Stone Cold Steve Austin, to anybody else, the way I've seen fans respond to Stone Cold Steve Austin. He broke every record. He shattered everything. Only thing that was detrimental to Stone Cold was his run at the top because of his health issues. And then the stuff he did as the general manager, as the leader of the alliance, how he pivoted to a more comedic aspect. And then, of course, in Dallas, when he had to announce his retirement and he was emotional. The first time I ever heard Stone Cold emotional on a microphone. I watched it all week and I'm like, bro, I cannot think of anybody else that fan, as a wrestler fan, like I've never responded to anybody else in this business. Even my favorites, Shawn Michaels / Bret Hart, 1 and 1A and 1A, like Stone Cold Steve Austin. So I just wanted to take.
I got to ask you this question.
Yes, sir.
Two things. One, before that's like, is he the only person to have a like really, really stupid gimmick and bounce back from it, and we don't talk about it? You bring up the general manager stuff. You bring up I talked about 2001 at Invasion, right?
Mm-hmm.
Austin did that and we hated it. He got back to what you just said.
Mm-hmm.
Those pops that go up. Is he the only person to ever do that?
I think so.
It didn't hurt him, if we're being honest.
The only person that I can think that even comes close, and are we talking just solely WWE, his WWF run?
Anybody?
Are we talking about just as his career in general? Like, because where guys start and where they finish is different. But we talk about like prime character.
Yeah. Let's say prime character.
It's gotta be. I don't know anybody else that started off in a bad spot outside of Rocky Maivia. He might be the only one. And to be honest with you, I don't know who's worse, the Ringmaster or Rocky Maivia. And it's got to be the Ringmaster, because at least Rocky Maivia had some type of pro wrestling pedigree, right? Yeah. Son of Rocky Johnson, the grandson of the great High Chief Peter Maivia, the grandson of Leah Maivia. Like, you know what I mean? So like there was a lineage that was there. They already crowned in a blue chipper. Stone Cold Steve Austin came in as buzz cut, the Ringmaster, and then became, like, when you watch pre-Stone Cold, 96, 97-ish, you can see him kind of trying too hard. But that groundwork was what kind of, because he was trying to be a bad guy. But that groundwork eventually, when he not was playing the role, but just became Stone Cold a little bit more. And like he went from being an afterthought to all of a sudden literally transforming the entire industry, and nothing else was the same after that. And then you watch Stone Cold 96, 97, and then watch Stone Cold in 98. The shows give you goosebumps watching the audience reaction. I mean, people are losing their minds. And I'm like, and he's just doing stuff like coming to the ring, cutting his promos, talking to himself, the way he walks. And then he grabs the mic all fired up, and then he beats people down. I watched him trap Kane in the Hell in a Cell, and Undertaker couldn't get in, and he was going to town on Kane. I'm trying to tell you.
And you know, that story is the reason why SummerSlam 98 is one of my favorites.
That's why it's everybody's favorites. Like, and we talk about SummerSlam 98. It's like there's a handful of matches we talk about, but it was always Highway to Hell. We always remember Undertaker, Stone Cold Steve Austin.
They hated the match.
And I understand why they hated it. It's because I've seen Stone Cold and Undertaker is such an underrated rivalry. Like, they carried WWF for a good chunk of the time before The Rock became The Rock, in my mind. It was like
They did.
in the stores, it was Stone Cold and Undertaker water bottles. In the catalogs, Stone Cold truck, Undertaker truck. Like they were hand in hand for a long period of time. Like I said, right before The Rock kind of took off, you know. But I challenge anybody, please show me anybody else where fans responded. I'm talking about pandemonium, not going crazy, not cheering. The closest thing you probably get is Hulkamania, but Hulkamania was fun and exciting. Stone Cold was intense, and I'm talking about he could have started a riot with how intense he was. That glass shatters, people would lose their minds, and I don't think we want to see anybody else ever reach that level where people like are constantly. I've never seen a crowd. I'm moving on. Lose their mind from the minute he grabs the mic, lose their mind while he's talking, and then keep losing their minds as he's getting off the mic. And that's the bottom line. And then it goes even louder because Stone Cold says so, and everybody's flipping their wigs because the music comes back on.
Right.
That's
the glass hit again.
That's what
Oh
I'm trying
my
to say.
gosh, bro.
Think
That's
about
crazy.
it. Go back and watch
That
it.
is crazy.
And I'm sitting there watching, and I'm telling you, I have talked to generation after generation that go back and watch Stone Cold. I said, you were not born in this era. You were born 6, 7, 8, 12 years after this stuff happened, and you're going back watching it, and you getting the same feeling we did when it happened live. And of course, it's different because it was so unexpected. But come on now, that's
so
just
he's the Michael Jordan and not Hogan.
You give it to Hogan because he was the first one. You know what I mean? Understandably so. But Stone Cold shattered all of Hogan's records. I don't think,
really
like I said, it's just, you know what I mean? Like
magic.
And he was. I've never taken nothing away from him. He was
magic.
Like
that's
when
the case.
When you said professional wrestling, it was Hogan.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the way it was. Just like we say wrestling now, you think WWE. You know what I mean? Oh, you watch your wrestling, you mean WWE just because that's just what you're associated with. So back in the 80s, it was sports. We like football, basketball, and baseball. So they, in the baseball in the back of the day, baseball, you think Babe Ruth. You know what I'm saying? Basketball at one point, Michael Jordan, right? Wrestling, Hogan. Like there was just certain names that just associated because they were the first ones to become crossover stars, not just wrestling people and stuff like that. Or sometimes it's just the era. Like I think if Andre was younger in Hogan's era, it might have been a different conversation. But he grew up in an era where media wasn't what it was. Pro wrestling was kind of carny. You know what I'm saying? But Hogan came along in an era where it was like, no, this is television now. No, this is cool. This is, live event, and it's this, and it's rock and roll, and it's, live event space. It wasn't. And then, of course, when he fell off, so did wrestling. It was like, oh, this is funky. So this is what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Certain pillars, but I mean, I said I've come to a conclusion. Stone Cold Steve Austin is the greatest professional wrestler of all time. I'm talking about across the board. I ain't talking about in ring. I'm not talking about No, I'm talking about of all time. There's nobody that makes anybody feel the way they did when Stone Cold stepped on the screen. And I'm not talking about your generation, because if you grew up with Hogan, you're gonna feel what you feel about Hogan. But I'm talking about I've never seen fans react to anybody else like I've seen them react to Stone Cold Steve Austin.
There's a reason that we hear some glass break. If we hear glass break today,
it's the
first
same
thing
response.
that pops into your mind is that dad going, what?
Because it's so intense.
Literally, yes. You're right, bro. You got it.
Bro, listen to me, fellas. If I find a link, I'm just going to send it to y'all. Go back and watch it. You will sit back and, like, I'm telling you, I watched that story and just the little stuff he did. Like, how do you make it believable? We got to move on. I'm long with it. How do you make it believable that Stone Cold Steve Austin can take down Kane? The way he did it, it made sense. Like,
that is true.
He literally come out there and said, I know one thing. I think I could take you, Kane, and I could take you, Undertaker. I'm the baddest mofo in town, but I ain't stupid. I know I can't take both of y'all at the same time, so I got to take one of you guys. I got to take one of you guys out first. Like, he made that very clear.
That was my favorite build-up, bro.
Bro, he trapped Kane in the Hell in the Cell and he came from under the ring, and people went nuts, and he was so intense, and he was swinging his forehead, and he was stomping the mud hole, and then he hit him with the chair, and he's giving Undertaker the finger, and just throughout the entire process, everybody is losing it, feeding off that energy, and Undertaker's he's stomping, and he's stomping, and he's stomping, trying to get in, and I'm like,
I was not mad at all. I ain't even gonna hold you. Kane is my guy. I was not mad.
And then Kane and the way Kane sold it, because they showed the extra raw stuff at the end. Undertaker finally gets in the ring. Stone Cold gets out of the ring because they showed they showed Vince McMahon in the cut raising the Hell in the Cell because he was trying to preserve the main event. He was trying to keep the peace.
No, that
And
was hilarious.
they showed Vince in the back hitting the thing. And then when Kane got up, first of all, he was bleeding from the top of his head. And Kane grabbed that chair and he slammed it like, man, I got caught by Stone Cold. He caught me slipping. And Undertaker's like, see, now we really got a problem because you put your hands on my brother. It's like putting your hands on me. But they could not do nothing until SummerSlam. And I was like, bro, where is this in professional wrestling? We don't have this anymore. Sorry. It is what it is. If this is the show to talk about it, god dang it, this is it. So
It's nice. That should go. I love
I'm
it.
just saying. I challenge. I want somebody to show me otherwise. Show me somebody where fans responded louder to their favorite versus the way people responded to Stone Cold Steve Austin. I'm open for it. But anyways, we got to move on. I had to get off my chest. I don't mind. So a lot went down. That's what I watched. And not only did I watch that, I also watched TNA Slammiversary. We're just going to keep running with this. This whole TNA run. TNA recently had their most attended live audience in TNA history. Now we're all favorites, and we've all said things about TNA before, and we all have always felt like, oh, this could have been done time and time before, in the year. But the reality is, this is where we are. I talked to people, and I remember brother Guy was saying this in the early part of the TNA partnership with WWE. Like, how did they benefit from this? It seems kind of one-sided, but man, I have to tell you, I don't know if this was a master plan or this is just happening naturally, but this partnership with NXT and TNA is making TNA commercially more popular than it's ever been.
Facts.
Did anybody see this coming? Because I'm gonna tell you right now, I didn't. Because we talk about, and I'm gonna let you go first, brother Guy, because you have always been angry about the fact, like, why are we not acknowledging NXT as a third brand? Why are we not? And we're like, oh, well, it's development. He's like, no, it doesn't matter. If they're going to keep putting this in a position where it's proven that it can carry its own, when NXT started doing takeovers in actual arenas and selling them out, why are we pretending like, because brother Guy's whole thing was, I hate the fact that you're trying to play it safe. Don't keep trying to call developmental just in case it doesn't, you can't follow up when it's like, no. Mm-hmm. And now what we consider a third brand is actually carrying another brand. Like, it's not like, John Cena showed up on TNA or The Rock or Cody Rhodes. Like, no, this is NXT established talent blending with TNA superstars. And it's like, I never thought that NXT would have the power that it has to bring up TNA to the point where they just ran their they ran their largest live attendance record in TNA history. But brother Guy, talk about TNA Slammiversary and just TNA coming as far as it has, as far as this pay-per-view and its relationship with NXT and how it's actually benefited from it.
So it's insane because when I sat back and thought about it, I think you had said at one time, Rollins, it was like the land of misfit toys, right?
Mm-hmm.
All those, I don't want to say cast out, but hey, life ended for me here in WWE. Now I go over there, get my resurgence back, and then I move on, right?
Right.
But TNA was at a low period when I say the amount of talent they had. So who better to help them get the reps than veterans helping the NXT people? You know what I mean? So it was like you starting to see it organically, naturally, that you see those people that we were following on that scale. Because let's call it what it is. NXT fans are the same TNA fans
Right.
because you know what you're going to get when you watch it a certain way, just like AEW fans are AEW fans.
Mm-hmm.
But now that that's the audience, we're appealing to the same people. Let's go ahead and do it because no matter who, the people that we might not think are major players in NXT are
Right.
major players in TNA and vice versa. Who would have knew that Santana, a guy that we saw in TNA as a former tag team specialist,
Mm-hmm.
was a big deal when he showed up in NXT and vice versa. So now it's like, okay, this partnership is showing we're gonna, you might have 5,000 viewers here, I might have 5,000 viewers, but guess what? I'm gonna take 2,500 over here. You gonna take 2,500 over there. So they're both growing because you want to see those stars and want to see what's gonna happen. Even to the point they're not playing with our intelligence. When Santino comes on there, he's still the director of authority. When
Bingo.
Fandango came, he kept his TNA name. Oh, he used to be known as Fandango here. I'm just waiting for one person to actually cross the line so we can see what happens
I
because I
see
want
what
to
you
see
did
Brother
there.
C. I want to see, yeah, I want to see, because I think they're purposely keeping certain people away. And I thought you would have saw him. I'm just waiting for Nick Nemeth to come across so I can see if he's going to be Nick Nemeth for Dolph Ziggler. What's going to happen? But this partnership, I don't agree with the both champions being in NXT, but I
Mhm.
get where they're going because you got to build up something so that way when they do dethrone them, they feel like the biggest
Bingo.
deal that they have taken down. Because whoever takes this belt off Trick is going to feel like the homegrown hero for this brand and to be
Especially
the
heel
flag
Trick.
bearer. Right. Because he's doing, who would have known a year ago we weren't all sold on Trick. And even
No.
when NXT was changing the game in season 3 of Championship Culture, and we talked about Trick was the right person for the CW brand, he's
Hmm.
clearly the right person for the TNA brand right now.
Absolutely.
Because did we care about the TNA champion when he was in the Rumble? Okay, it was nice the belt was on TV. Did we care about him at WrestleMania? It was nice he was on TV. But now we care about what is Trick doing for these title shots that he having on NXT and TNA. So I see where they're going. I think it's going to be a great thing. And another part that we don't even think about, you
Hmm.
still got AAA over there in the corner doing the same thing with NXT.
Bingo. Yep.
So I think we're
So
going to see a lot more
mhm.
intertwining to grow all those brands.
Yeah, and I think something crucial that you said when it came to Joe Hendry, I think we cared more about Joe Hendry than the TNA champion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they were
Mhm.
the same, one and the same. Joe Hendry was the TNA champion, and it was good, but it was like whether he was the champion or not, we would have all responded to Joe Hendry the same way.
Because we did it in NXT. Remember when he appeared, it was like he wasn't champion at the time. People were excited to see him. And then
Okay.
it opened the door for those other people to come over. And then you can call it forbidden door, whatever. But now at this point, it's like a screen door, just keep opening. Which way
Yeah.
we're going to go. And you kind of tune in each week to see who's going to mix it up with who.
You
So
guys will have fun with this next conversation. But how do you feel about AJ Styles returning to Slammiversary? Now, let me preface this. They have been teasing this for a while. And I know like this is not the first time this happened, right? We've done a talent exchange before, right? When Christian was inducted into their Hall of Fame, and then when Ric Flair was inducted in the WWE's Hall of Fame as teenage talent, but this time with the Four Horsemen, and Ric Flair's crying over there, and they're like, well, please come back. He's like, oh boy, I want to. But you know, he was so happy to even be a part of that while he was on a TNA contract. But you know, everybody always wondered, will AJ Styles go back? AJ Styles go back, go back. And he's already kind of made like, I'm past that. I'm not gonna that's the past. You know what I mean? I'm moving on to what it is I'm doing now and then afterward. But how did you feel about how they handled TNA, AJ Styles' return to TNA in this fashion now that they have this partnership where it was kind of like, you know what I mean? AJ Styles doesn't have to leave WWE to go back to TNA, the situation.
I think they opened a lot of doors to say, what do we do next with AJ? Because does he get the title back and bring it over? Because remember, Christian had to bring the title back to drop
Mm-hmm.
it to their next person.
Right.
Um, but when AJ Styles endorsed Leon Slater, that
Mm-hmm.
was a bigger deal because AJ Styles is his name is attached to the X Division title for so much. And for him to endorse him, that's truly the veteran AJ saying, you can do this. You know, I'm stamping you with the blessing. But I ain't forget about you over there, Trick, talking trash about me too. So which way do
Oh
we go
yeah.
with this? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because he could always be in that person to take it and bring it back over
Mm-hmm.
and lose it to someone else. And because in defeat, AJ is still gonna be AJ. But I think that it was a good move that they brought him in the way they did, and I
Mm-hmm.
think it was great that they had him at because we know Slammiversary is always big to them,
Yeah.
and to have him there, it was like okay, the nostalgia part was there,
And
but
it felt big.
he still got it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and it felt big this year. That's the part I liked about it. Like it felt like it was a big show. You know, they had the panel, they had the pre-show, they had, you know what I mean? It was like, you know, the WWE seasoning. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
and I think the people that they have running TNA are not wrestling people; they're business people. So it's like they have no problem allowing direction from WWE. Like, look, man, put on the best show. We here to make money. You know what I mean? So there's not this clash of creativity between a Scott D'Amore like, hey, look, I'm a wrestling guy too. I want to do my thing versus WWE's like, hey, look, why don't you do this? And you're like, nah, we're going to do our own thing. Versus now they're like, look, man, I'm, you know, hey, look, do you whatever you think is best for the product and what we're trying to do over here. And like you said, it's actually working. Brother Hugh, how did you feel about TNA Slammiversary this year? AJ Styles returns. Trick Williams kind of showing us a range that I didn't expect to see. You know what I mean? I'm proud of Trick, man.
That's exactly where I was gonna go. Just straight up Trick Williams, man. His work right now, same thing we said about Naomi. It's phenomenal right now. It's crazy. He's
He's
off the
hitting his
Richter
stride.
scale with it. Yes, the range is crazy. I'm loving this new attitude that he's carrying.
Mhm.
Cocky, he's arrogant. He's the champ. He's the man. Like he said,
Yep.
I'm the man on two brands, 100%.
Yeah, that's a big flex.
He's still the top guy. If you look at it, look who's on the posters for NXT. It's still Trick Williams,
That's true.
right?
Yep.
TNA, now he's taking over that because he's the champion. So he's the man on two brands, and I'm loving the attitude that he's carrying. I'm loving the way that he's carrying himself right now, and I'm looking forward to seeing more from him. Hopefully, we do get that AJ Styles Trick
Oh boy.
feud. That would be great. But my only beef with it at first was, do you have a main roster star go? I'm gonna say go down to TNA, no matter who it is, go down to TNA and win that title. That was my first thought,
hmm
because no matter what, TNA and NXT they seem to be on equal planes right now, right? And let's keep it real.
hmm
TNA and NXT is still minor leagues to the major league and to the main roster.
Yep. Double A and
So
Triple
do
A.
you want to right? So do you want to cross those lines? But in this case, I kind of think that you got to pass because this is AJ Styles.
Bingo. I was thinking the
This
same
is
thing,
Mr.
brother.
TNA.
Yep.
This is Mr. TNA, no matter what. So
And what
you're good
and,
with
and
him.
what other chance will you get this? Like, what other better scenario
Absolutely.
can you make this happen and make it make sense? So,
When they first
Oh, sorry.
when they first announced this partnership, that was the first thing everybody was saying.
yep.
Let's get AJ Styles down
AJ.
there and get the title back on him. Because to be honest, he wasn't really doing anything in the WWE at that point in time.
Yeah.
That was a way to uplift TNA, put them on the same pedestal as WWE,
Mhm.
right? Get them the extra exposure that they need, and it was a cool way to kind of give AJ Styles a thank you
There you go.
again. Go back home, show us take your throne again. Do what you can do. We're not using you the proper way right now in WWE, so go do your thing down there, and of course, we will always take you back.
Sure. Yeah.
So that's
But
the way
see,
I
and
felt about it.
the other
Yeah.
thing, and
Mhm.
I meant to add this,
Yeah.
when
Go
we
ahead.
talk about developmental, it's actually WWE has shifted our way of thinking because you got Raw and SmackDown, right?
hmm
Yeah.
Then you have TNA, NXT, AAA, and then below that you have Evolve, LFG,
Yep.
ID. So they got three different levels now. And the
That's
crazy
true.
part is they're almost to the point it's like you can go up
Full blown
or you can
furniture.
go down or you can go
Yeah.
sideways. So they literally, because you took SmackDown stars to AAA. You
hmm
took TNA stars to, I mean, not TNA, NXT stars to AAA. But then you got main roster stars that whether you called them back or you have them back. You got Natalia in the feud for Evolve Championship.
hmm
You know, and like you have different scenarios that you're doing because who better to work with the next up people, and then you still see them moving in different ways. I'm like, this is actually kind of cool what they're doing.
Yeah.
It's wrestling for everybody.
Brian H., how did you feel about TNA Slammiversary this year? Is
Um,
WWE doing a good job at elevating TNA? Is it finally paying off?
Yeah, I thought it was great. I love the fact that they walked away with the titles right now, because where I see it is Bound for Glory is their WrestleMania, right? And I saw
Bingo.
Gail Kim point that out on X. So you need to break hearts in order to give people that triumph and give people that moment.
Great
Hopefully
perspective.
people don't regret that moment, rooting for that moment 11 years later, like I
Mhm.
did, but more on that later.
Uh-oh.
I thought that with the AJ Styles thing, the thing
Mhm.
is I saw was Leon Slater's reaction.
Yeah, he
He
definitely.
was everybody, one of us at home.
Yeah.
Him jumping up in the ring, to me, it says that's the big match. Who gets that match with AJ Styles? I don't think it necessarily has to be a world title match, but it's like, who's going to be worthy of that? That would have been like if WCW was still around and Ric Flair was in his prime or like looked good and he went back, like who's worthy of that match? So, well, yeah, but so that's what I'm excited about. I love Trick Williams on Tuesday because quite frankly, he outdid the Undertaker. I thought Taker looked very sluggish. Very slow. We could complain. We could talk about it was a promo and he was standing up there. Nah, bro. He looked like he forgot his lines. It's time for the old dog to go.
192 years old, bro.
That's my point.
What's for all the Undertaker disrespect going on? What in the world?
Those are facts.
Can I ask you a question? Okay. Because you guys mentioned Trick Williams. Trick Williams.
How he outshined him and carried that segment. What's up?
I think he did an excellent job with the Undertaker for one. Because now I think it was on purpose, is because you don't want the Undertaker to outshine Trick Williams, right? But I think Trick Williams handled it absolutely stupendous because of just how he sold it, his attitude. That's what I noticed. I don't know what it was, but he was, running his mouth and talking about his cowhide leather coat, and I was like, wait a minute. Trick Williams is a heel. Like that's when it kind of hit me.
Do you think he outdid Braun Breaker?
As far as what? What do you?
When Undertaker was in the ring with Braun Breaker, do you think he like?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
okay. All right, so I understand where you're going with that.
Yeah,
I just looked at it, bro. I was like, come on.
No. And don't get me wrong. You're not wrong about that because he definitely dragged. Now and I don't get, like, you're not wrong, Bryan. Here was my train of thought, right? In my mind, and here's what I was thinking when it came to the segment between Undertaker and Trick Williams. Undertaker is, and I think they're always, as I call it, working the worker. Undertaker is old school, and what's one of the main things that old school superstars, talent, Hall of Famers are always telling the young guys: slow down.
When you think you're going fast, go slow.
Yeah, there you go.
Go slower.
And I think he was like, okay, I got to slow this segment all the way down because we used to complain about Trick Williams moving too fast. Like, bro, you got to stop and sell it. And I think Undertaker was like he was in old man storytelling mode on purpose because, like you said, like Brother Guy said, LFG, I thought it was a show. They're treating it like it's its own brand. Like, oh yeah, you got LFG. I was like, oh, so we going to work this in too? And when I saw, usually we've never seen the Tough Enough style development or show people show up on the actual programming because it's usually like recorded like a year in advance or whatever.
Yeah.
But like they were fresh off of season 1 and they showed up on NXT. I was like, oh, so this is what we're doing. And they got matches. Jasper Troy's in matches with Obafemi and all this. And I was like, oh, so we're doing this like now. And I feel like he was selling a character like I'm the old school teacher. So of course I'm gonna come in here like an old grandpa and tell you a story and let me slow this down. And the tricks say, yeah, man, I'm young and I'm popping and your knees are expired. And you ain't, and I was like, oh yeah, he's about to get what he's got coming to him. And then when it came for a point where Undertaker, like he said it, one thing you don't have, like the Trick Williams that I knew before in NXT was all these things, but this TNA Trick Williams has no respect. And don't get it twisted. Like I'm being pleasant with you right now, but I can make you famous just that quick. Trick Williams wanted to try his hand. He got chokeslammed. Trick Williams went to the school of Booker T, school of selling. I mean, you'd think he went straight to ROW himself and trained. I said that Booker T.
I said, why you got his leg up?
Bro, he was twitching. He was looking, and I said, God dang it, Trick Willie, you done gone to a whole different level. So I agree with you, Bryan. Yeah, you're not right because he definitely was. And I was like, are they trying to fill the segment, or is he like, you know what I mean? So
I was just sitting there, and ironically, it's Undertaker and DDP's story that's on my screen right now.
See,
with the dumbest thing. Like DDP said, "Have y'all seen my wife?"
Yeah.
No, but why would I stalk his wife?
Yeah. Yeah, Kimberly
But
Page she's still a fox in her 60s. I can admit that.
still, she was on one of them joints, one of them Dark Side of the Rings, or maybe it's the WCW documentary.
Mm-hmm.
Still bad.
Her and Eric Bischoff's wife, Mrs. B. Oh my goodness, she's a model. So
Why he
Eric
do them Bluetooth commercials?
that's
So
why
well.
Eric Bischoff is jacked the way he is doing DDP yoga, because he had to I got to keep
That
up
is
with my wife.
true.
See that?
Mhm.
I see why he's jacked like that. His
I was
wife
gonna say
is
he got to
still,
keep up with it. He said, "Oh,
bro.
he ain't
She's in
gonna
her
leave me."
60s and she is still bad. I was like, oh, okay. And but shout out to Eric Bischoff. He married a model and Undertaker. You guys got good looking wives. You guys doing what they keep you guys young and fit. But
No, Undertaker's new wife, because we
yeah,
talking about Sarah on here.
nobody. I told people man, he used to have Sarah tattooed on his neck. It's like, no, he didn't. I said, no,
Yeah,
you got
right
it.
here,
Definitely
right?
Definitely
did.
did.
It was right
Right
here,
across
right?
the neck.
It was right here.
Yep.
I'm
No.
looking right
It
at
was
it.
on
It
his
was
neck.
right in
It
the
was
front.
right here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
I was
could
like, wait a
always see
minute.
it every time.
Didn't you have at first of all,
He on. You always saw it.
and that's how you know he loved it, because they said neck tattoos hurt. I wouldn't know. I don't have any. But
Yeah.
yes, Trick Williams, I think he did a good job of that. Because I was like, when he called him out, I said, Trick Williams, come on, bro. What are we doing here, man? Like, why
But see,
you
the thing,
want
I
to do
Did
said,
that?
a
wow,
great
of all
job on
people, you called
Monday
out.
too.
You said on
Oh,
Monday?
he was in the stands.
Yeah,
When he did that promo, you could, yeah. But I was in my mind, I said, why Taker though? I said, okay, the LFG angle. I said,
Bingo.
oh
Yep.
come on. I said, oh, okay.
I love that.
I thought it was just a show, but them like, oh, so we're doing this too, though. But like I said, we got to pay.
Original programming on A&E. They said, look, we gotta sell this, buddy. We gotta get eyeballs to that channel.
It's like this revolving, like everything is working in cohesion with each other when it comes to the product. That's why they said nothing is safe. We're talking press conferences, social media, appearances outside. Like you can't believe anything anymore. There was always a cutoff. And even this show that's coming up soon, and we got to move on, is WWE Unreal, and everybody's kind of up in arms about it. I said, bro, don't believe that show. This is Triple H we're talking about. That probably is stage 2. Like
that's probably the most staged out of all of them.
That process for how they do stuff is probably nothing like what we're going to really see. They're selling, hey, look, this is what a wrestling fan thinks we would do. Let's show them this. And that's really probably not. Yeah, it's probably not even that way. So, but yes, shout out to AJ Styles. Shout out to TNA. You guys are doing good business. And I agree with you. If there was somebody to dethrone AJ Styles and TNA, it's got to be somebody worthy. Now, like I said, Nick Nemeth, you know what I mean, a Jeff Hardy type guy or whatever, but yeah, just come on now. I heard about the Heat, right? There you go.
In the night. Oh, sorry, I thought we was on the TNA.
No, we don't acknowledge that version of Jeff Hardy, but we gotta acknowledge a hot take, right? This is we usually don't do a whole lot of too hot for TV segments, but I think this is one of those situations that it calls for a too hot for TV segment. So we're going to go ahead and just let this sizzle for a little bit. And we got to get into this hot take by Bryan Danielson about his time in AEW versus his time in TNA. Bryan H brought this to our attention. And I'm like, you know what? There's a perfect place for us to have this conversation. And it's called the Wrestling Rum Now podcast.
No, tell the truth. He no-sold me, y'all. I put it in the group chat and I knew he ain't sell it. I said, oh,
right.
I'm getting summoned to the show tonight.
I purposely saved it. I did. But here we go. Too hot for TV. Okay, see that? That's how you know. So we have a there was a story done by Sunsport. Shout out to them, where Bryan Danielson had he wanted to speak on the differences in how he looks at main eventing AEW All In London versus WWE's WrestleMania 30. Now, the AEW All In London, Daniel Bryan's moment against Swerve was absolutely, I loved every last bit of it. His look, the match. Only thing I hate about it is that it didn't last too long. But we all became Daniel Bryan fans during this era. Daniel Bryan was a bright spot in a very, I guess, stagnant time in professional wrestling. Of course, we watched it because it was wrestling. And of course, we challenged certain things. But Daniel Bryan was a breath of fresh air during that time period. So we take some of these things personal. But I want to read the quote of what he had to say. And of course, all four of us were there for majority of both of these, for like the rise of Daniel Bryan and then Bryan Danielson trying to reinvent himself in AEW. But this is what Bryan Danielson had to say. He said, what meant the most to me about the match at AEW All In was my family being there, understandably so. My kids got to see me wrestle. My daughter was old enough to be able to remember it for the rest of her life. The idea of, now I'm just essentially a dad. My daughter will remember this thing of 50,000 people at Wembley Stadium where her dad was cool. I main evented WrestleMania 30 with WWE, and honestly, it doesn't mean that much to me. My sister and my niece got to come into the ring, but I was about to marry my wife the following Friday, and they wouldn't let her come down to the ring. They didn't want her to be in the thing. And on top of that, it wasn't just like that. It was like I was going through a ton of neck pain and all these other things. So these things seem like cool moments to a viewer. There's all this other stuff going on in the wrestler's life or a partner's life or performer's life that could make that moment not as valuable to them as it is to the people viewing it. Okay, so let's put this in perspective. It sounds like to me that Daniel Bryan is trying to explain the moments associated with these big moments in professional wrestling, right? His match at AEW All In when he won the AEW World title from Swerve versus his match at WrestleMania 30.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's a million questions that may be circling around this. Are you guys buying this, or is Daniel Bryan just being loyal to the company he works for? Because here's my thing. Everybody always says, oh yeah, WWE meant nothing to me, until they go back and they say, oh my God, I never wanted to leave. I wish I'm so happy to be back home. I'm like, wait a minute, didn't you hate WWE a few years ago? But it's always a different story. Now, are we buying this from Daniel Bryan? Because don't get me wrong, what he's saying, I'm like, okay, well, when you say it that way, this kind of makes sense. And all right, like, well, I can see the association between the moments, why one moment seems to be more special than the other. But we are Daniel Bryan fans, and we are Bryan Danielson fans, before WWE and after his WWE time. So, brothers, are you guys buying this? Or Brian H., he proposed a question, why should I care about Daniel Bryan if he doesn't? Are we sticking to this? Are we feeling this? Is this just somebody being loyal to his product? Does he really mean this? What are we talking here?
Well, this is stings a little bit, and I'm not buying it. I do think he's being loyal to the company. I know Bryan Danielson has gone on record and said he's a great liar. He said Cody Rhodes taught him how to lie.
Cody Rhodes lies a lot. This podcast is funny. Brian, it's soft spot for you, Brian. I'm sorry.
When he talks to his friends.
That. What's close associates, as he calls them. Close workplace associates.
Right. But when I sit back and I think about this, and my thing is like, why should I care? Right? That was a moment. Oh, I can't even believe I'm about to say these words.
Yeah, it was special to us.
It was special, and I even said this was greater.
Yep, say it.
I'm looking at Brother Hugh even through the shades because I see the orange symbol coming to strike me right in my chest.
Yep, it's coming.
But in that moment, I said it was greater than the Orioles World Series victory. The one thing I want to see, and every year I seem to get close, I don't. And for me, in that time, Bryan Danielson or Daniel Bryan winning the WWE World Heavyweight Championship was phenomenal. Well, clearly to say a better moment for me was not only watching Roman Reigns take down Brock Lesnar and hold up both titles, but also watching Roman Reigns defeat Cody Rhodes and hold up both titles the second year.
Now that was boring.
And when I sit back and I think about this, it's just like it felt like he's crapping on the moment. That's where I have an issue because it's and guess what? In all fairness, he has a right to feel how he feels.
Sure.
He does. That's his moment. He was the one in the ring. He put the blood, sweat, and tears. Yes, I can totally understand because you remember I felt, well, dang, why didn't they let Brie in? And I remember me and you had this conversation when we had Wrestling Realm Uncensored or Wrestling Realm Unheard. And we was having this conversation. He was like, but it had to be about Bryan. I said, but even if they would have put like Shawn Michaels in the ring. He was like, no, it had to be about him. It was his night. Everything, it had to be about him. So I can understand that. But as for me and my fandom, it takes it away because, again, if he doesn't care about why do I, this is where they give us too much more information we need to know. Think about everything that we learned about that moment, one of the greatest moments in wrestling history, right? Mm-hmm. The night that Hogan, Hall, and Nash stuck it to the world, right? Now imagine just curiosity, right? Man, they said, "Yeah, that was stupid. That really wasn't the greatest thing, you know. And we ain't want to do it, whatever, right?
Right. Just
now I'm here,
the whole situation.
Just downplaying it. Now I'm hearing it differently, and it's not going to mean that much. But because I even like hearing the fact that Hogan had to be convinced, and then 1 minute he says, you know, it wasn't had to be convinced. He said, "No, you're looking at all of that." You know what I mean? Bischoff said he went to his house, he got kicked out almost, and then comes back. You know, when that curtain is ripped open, it does kind of soil things a little bit,
right?
You know what I mean? It's like we mentioned Malcolm-Jamal Warner at the top of the show. Right. We hear good things from the kids about their experience. You know what I mean? Let's take away all the stuff that Billy did, right? If we would have heard those stories from them, it would have diminished things. Because like, oh man, come on now, you treating them like that. So I know that's an extreme comparison, but that's what I said. For me, that's when I read this, I said, you know what? You could have it back. Fine, Bryan, you're out of my top 10. You're not even. This isn't a favorite moment, and now I got to redo my list.
Yeah.
Why are you so sensitive?
Oh, I'm sorry, bro. Hold on.
This is not that deep, brother.
Oh, so you want to come for me? You want to come for me, brother Hugh?
Huh? It is not that deep,
brother.
I have a right to like wrestling and like wrestling how I want.
You do. You do.
Want to come in?
But I have the right to tell you that you too sensitive.
You could have. No, you ain't had to say that on the show. You could have literally called me up. You could have called me up and said, "No, you sensitive." See, now I'm sensitive because you wanted to come at me for what I said. You asked me something, and you know, so did I. Well, dang.
Brother Hugh, you think brother being sensitive? Talk about it. Were you not as effective by statement?
No, because at the end of the day, the moment is still there. For me personally, the moment is still there. I can give two craps about how he felt about it. The reason being because I'm a fan. For me, I know how it felt for me. Like for him, like it's personal to him, and I understand where he's coming from 100%, and he has every right to feel that way. And to be honest, I kind of agree with him. To be honest, how you not gonna let my future wife down to the ring to celebrate with me? Yeah. You know what I mean? Plus, I had my little girl. You know, I had my child there with me, whatever, and all in. So it makes sense. That's gonna be a little bit. He's gonna have more attachment to that.
Sure.
So it makes sense to me. But as far as like me knocking him off the list and all, nah, bro, I'm good. I'm good.
Bro, you stand on the
list. He's cool. He was a great character at that point in time.
Brian, they said
the build was the build was cool. I liked it. It was good. It was good. It's a moment that stays there forever. It's in the record books. It's not changing. Right. I'm still gonna feel the same way about it. No matter what.
I'm not gonna watch it the same. When I go back and watch it, it's not the same no more. You know what I mean? Like I'm good. I remember how I felt on April 2nd, 2014, or whatever day it is. Yeah. Matter of fact, you know what? Let me show you something. The way in my I must have deleted it already. I was going to delete it. I had that picture right there. That one that was in my favorites list. It was like coming after one of these. Even go all the way back. You know, this how far I was going way back. You know, all the way to these photos.
Oh my
gosh,
that's
how deep. You feel me?
That was a deep cuts.
Yeah, but you know now. But
I get it though. That's how Bryan. That's how Bryan is though. And I love it.
Yeah,
that's
Bryan
he is.
That he's always been that passionate because it's always going to be real to him. Like I said, there's an innocence that you never lose. Look at that.
Yeah, I still got this.
Brother guy, are you buying this, or like where do you sit at in the middle of this? You heard Bryan H is on one extreme, and then brother Hughes like, it ain't that serious. I don't care what, brother, you don't care. I don't care what he feel about the situation. It's gonna be the same for me. How do you feel? Where do you feel? And this is why I love why we do what we do. Is because we're all fans, but like we all have different views and perspectives and certain things. You know what I mean? So I'm curious to see where you stand in the middle of all this when it comes to Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson, kind of crapping on this Daniel Bryan run for his own personal reasons. And in Bryan H's case, it's kind of downplaying, like, bro, don't downplay the moment. This was special to me, god dang it. And this is brother, he was like, bro, I don't give a crap what he feels about the situation, man. It's going to be a moment. But where do you fall on the spectrum of a wrestling fan with Bryan Danielson's statement? I can't even get his name right. It's Daniel Bryan to me.
Right.
I call him Daniel Bryanson.
It's DB
Well,
forever. DB forever.
I'm going to say WWE versus AEW, so that way we don't get confused.
there you go.
Like I'm all about the wrestlers having their moments, right?
Mhm.
And this is when you start pulling back the curtain. It starts to ruin wrestling or make us say conversations like this. Because I remember seeing the supermarket scene with Booker T, and I'm like, dang, why are they doing this man like this? But then to hear what happened behind the scenes, I'm like, oh, I'm okay with it. But it's
Yeah.
something we're always going to go back to. And it's
Right.
those moments that you're like, all day, why didn't Booker T win the world title at
There you
WrestleMania?
go. Mhm.
It stung. And I'm like, I hate that moment. Then hearing the story, and even when Booker T said to me directly about, I'm a two-time Hall of Famer, I don't need to do nothing else. I was okay with
There
okay,
you
he
go.
doesn't need one more time.
Okay.
And when he said it, it was like the validation because, and I
He was
say,
cool with it, and
everybody
I'm
should,
cool with it.
yeah. And
Okay.
and I'm always gonna have moments in history. I'm like, oh, this is great. But then when you hear the backstory, you're like, ooh, it could taint your view, but it
Mhm.
can't taint how you feel in that moment. Like if we find out tomorrow that
Right.
Daniel Bryan said, if I didn't lose the Kofi, I wasn't going out there. We probably would appreciate Kofi Mania more, but it's not going to take away from how we felt about Kofi Mania. You know what I mean? Like
Absolutely.
him, the problem I had with that run, it was
Mhm.
that who think that it was like, oh my God, how much more do we have to go through to get this moment? So I
Right.
always cherish it. In AEW, it was like, okay, is he ever going to get to it? Almost like the same thing, but then it was like, finally, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And yes, great that his wife and everybody was there. It was
Mhm.
different company, different times. Had it been under different leadership on either company, the
Yeah.
outcomes would have been totally different because we saw Cody Raheem and his wife came
Yeah.
down to the ring. You know what
That's
I
true.
mean? We saw him going over to Liberty. We see these things in this era, but on the same token, we see certain things in AEW that we're like, why is that happening?
Yeah.
So it's different eras and different times, and it's just going to give us these moments, and that's why I hate pulling back the curtain. I'd rather hear commentary from the wrestlers about the match, not the backstory of the match. I'd rather them talk about it like when we watched the Usos talk and the New Day talking about their rivalry. I enjoyed that so much more because it
Okay.
lets you see a different side of the match that you're going to appreciate. And had like the Hell in a Cell match, any match they had, and when hearing the things they're going through and things, I'm like, oh, okay, I have a better appreciation. I don't care what he says about that match or that moment. I'm still gonna watch it. I'm gonna remember how I felt when he won, just like we're all gonna remember being in the arena in Baltimore when the Yes Movement started. If he
Bingo.
comes back and say, "Oh, it was an accident. I didn't like that," I'm not gonna be like, "Oh no, don't do that." Like we're always gonna remember being in the arena when Jeff Hardy won his first WWE Championship, brother Hugh, and No More Words was playing and all that confetti.
that was a moment, brother Hugh.
Yes, that was a moment.
Was
But
that what was it? What
You see my
pay-per-view was
face
that?
on
Was
it.
that Armageddon on top of
no,
the
it was
casket?
SmackDown. Yo,
Oh,
yeah, he
SmackDown.
when he won it. But remember, he didn't
Yeah.
go on
I
Raw.
must have missed that
He
show.
showed up
I
with.
missed that show.
You didn't
No.
go to that one.
Nah, I missed that one.
Elite.
You go either.
Okay, I thought y'all was I the only one there.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
that
you was.
sucks. Yeah, that sucks. Y'all missed that moment. See how I just ruined it for y'all. See,
Hmm.
but you still gonna remember it.
There
But
you go.
I just I don't have a feeling either way. But
Mhm.
I get when wrestling is real to certain people. They're like, "Oh no, you're taking this from me." But then I
Wait.
get when people like, "Shut up, it's still there." I get both sides because X Men '97 episode 5 was real to me.
Oh my God, he's still talking about.
So
See, there it is. That's right, brother guy. Because it was real to you, god dang it.
it was real to me.
So
It
you
was
can relate to the moment.
Mhm.
That man, he's just mad because they tried to silence some yes chants.
Yeah,
Okay.
That's all that
Yeah,
is.
that's true.
that
They
also
said don't do
sounds.
it.
Yeah, because you know,
Yeah,
it's
that's
And
like,
let's be real. Let's be real.
go ahead.
Why
Yep.
couldn't? What happened to Bree mode? Why didn't she go into Bree mode and just run down to the ring?
Well,
Isn't that like a superpower or something?
Stop it. Stop it.
I mean, it's like the power of the turn up. Remove.
Okay. Yeah.
To
Right.
do nothing.
So I'm.
To do nothing.
Nikki's
She
better.
couldn't even rip her shirt.
Just
She
like,
couldn't even rip her shirt.
remove.
Yeah, Nikki
And
is
then
the
she jumps off
healthiest
the top
patient in the
rope.
emergency room. You're right. She is.
Wow. You guys want to hear a hot take from the realness? I'm gonna
Yes.
give you one.
Yes, please. Big screen, please. There we go.
I'm a transition because I want people
You
to
put
see.
yourself mainstream.
No, yeah, I got you. I want you guys to see the two pictures first.
Okay.
Okay.
If you ask me what match would I like to watch over and over again today, it's most likely going to be All in London.
Yeah.
One, because I like this version of Daniel Bryan in AEW. It's Bryan Danielson because it reminds me of, you know, who he was in Ring of Honor. Now, mind you, during his era of Ring of Honor, I was not the huge Ring of Honor fan. Don't get me wrong. Like I knew of it. It was cool, but that's why I first discovered the American Dragon. And when he was kind of, I never liked bald head, sociopath looking Daniel Bryan. I've always liked the grizzled American, you know, dragon look, right? But his match at All In with Swerve, I don't want to say it felt like a bigger moment because we lived through WrestleMania 30. But that WrestleMania 30 match bothers me because he had that fur on his stupid boots. And to this day, I have a hard time watching it versus Daniel Bryan with the cornrow braids with the half and halves come out when his gear, everything from start to finish, his entrance, his gear, his rope, and then him winning. I said, huh, whew, if you ask me what match I'm watching over and over, like I'm gonna go back and watch it. I'm looking for the AEW All In match before I'm looking for his WrestleMania 30 match. I'm just saying. So that's all I have to say about that. So I do think it's a combination of everything that you gentlemen had to say between, you know, a little bit of bitterness with, you know, hey, now you can't use the yes chance. You know, you kind of allude to it and let the crowd do it for you, you know, but also I do get where Bryan H is coming from. It's like, hey, look, man, this is because I do have my sentimental moments too. And I'd be pissed if somebody crapped on one of those moments. I'm like, hey, man, I was going through something hard in my goddamn life. And this was something that picked me up. And you're like, it wasn't my best work. I didn't really like it. I'm like, hold on now, brother. Feel some type of way. But Brother Hugh and Brother Guy also have points where it's like, look, man, look, you can feel how you want to feel about a situation. I ain't going to change nothing.
If it makes you feel any better.
Next year.
Yeah.
Chris Jericho said he doesn't count his reign with China as being one of his Intercontinental title reigns.
See?
He said it. If that makes you feel better. It hurt me a little bit when he said that because he was signing my belt at 7. And I said, you're extra 8-time champion. He said, I don't count that time. I said,
wow.
Oh, dang.
That's a little rude,
Well, he was lucky to get it. You sexist bastard.
He was lucky to get it 7 times?
That run with China.
No, I'm saying
he should count it. He want to be, I don't want to count it. No,
because it's the girl.
because it was he was co-champion, so he doesn't count that reign.
The business was very old schoolish still then. And you're talking about guys that came from the old school. I know, no disrespect to China or Joey Law, rest in peace. I know a lot of Jeff Jarrett. Come on, they didn't get any as like Jeff Jarrett and Chris Jericho that felt like not that it was being made a mind. Now you look at the overall bigger picture, right? You watch China's stuff, you realize like, hey, look, it wasn't about the fact she was a woman. We were creating a star, which they did, you know. But then of course you got guys that
Jeff Jarrett did dispel that though. Because you know there's a lot of myths that went out about him. That was the only reason why I was like super excited when he came out on the podcast, because I found him to be more likable. I found that he dispelled, like, he never had a problem with that. You remember they tried to say he held up Vince for money. He was like,
yeah,
nah, he just wanted
did
what was owed to
Oh
him.
yeah.
Now, he just wanted his pay. He was like, just pay me.
Yeah, but they always, like, for some reason, it was always easiest to make rumors about Jeff Jarrett.
Well, that's
you know
how,
what I mean?
That's how you sell dirt sheets, Bryan H.
It helped his gimmick.
And also,
he's also the one who never said nothing until, like, you know.
That's true. He's never kind of like you said, dispel. But and also you got to remember why they did it. Why it was so easy to do it, because he left and went right to WCW right afterwards, and he became
Absolutely.
the chosen one in that. Which I was like, why? Oh, WCW's trash. He was the Intercontinental Champion in WWF. Now he's the WCW World Champion in
Stone
WCW.
Cold said, "Nope, not putting him over, kid."
Yeah. So, but yeah. So Daniel Bryan, Bryan Danielson, he'll always be Daniel Bryan to me. I do need a AEW Supreme
I knew
version of
this was
this. This version of Daniel Bryan with this gear, this cornrow hair. I love braided hair. Daniel Bryan is very ethnic, and this AEW Championship. So AEW Jazzwares, let's get on
You need
that.
to praise to us, bruh.
Yeah,
That's
so
what I would tell him.
no. He looks good at it. Daniel Bryan gets a pass. Look at his haircut. He's
He
got
looks like a fighter.
He's got a
He looks like
fade
a fighter.
everything. So he went to a black barber to get this done. This wasn't, you know what I mean? He somebody has skill.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We've been in the barbershop. We know what this is about.
Shanique will hook him up.
Yeah. Who do you think braided that? Come on. You know who it was. So
Right.
but like I said, we are on our way to SummerSlam, and like I said, the main event of our show, as usual, and this is Bryan H's party. He's about to get excited. There he is. The Bloodline. We got the brothers reuniting for a quick moment, only for it to lead to probably one of the most over main events of SummerSlam this year, where you have Jey Uso reuniting with his bloodline brother and someone he grew up with, Roman Reigns, to take on the Young Boys, the Bron Boys, as Roman Reigns calls them, and Paul Heyman at SummerSlam. I mean, let's just talk about a master class in making money. Jey Uso returns as the right-hand man, right? But now this time he doesn't return as the right-hand man. He returns as a main event player. His shirts sell just as much as anybody else's to help his brother take on these young guns. First of all, Braun Strowman and Braun Breaker are two players that people see as legit future main event players. And to have this version of what we're looking at, are we looking at a potential bloodline reunion? But we look at, I said this to Bryan H earlier, you look at the purpose of a faction. The whole purpose is the purpose of your faction is in a lot of situations is to get who's in the faction over, especially when you look at there's different archetypes, right? There's different blueprints. I call it the evolution blueprint, where it's like, okay, cool, we're purposely putting young talent in this faction because we expect them to be main event players at some point. And we look at the purpose of the bloodline, why Roman Reigns out of his mouth said himself, hey, look, we're trying to get these people over. They're very successful at it, because if you look at the bloodline and what everybody's doing, it's like they all have established singles careers. And in Jey Uso's case, he's become one of the major players of WWE, period. I mean, you don't just get to a snap into a Slim Jim commercial if you ain't printing money, buddy. So, we're looking at a slight reunion, right? But I think this is going to be really, really huge. This is going to be, SummerSlam's the, WrestleMania of the summer. First night, we have 2 nights. This is going to go really, really well with the crossover audience. So how you guys feeling about, this semi-bloodline reunion with Roman Reigns and Jey Uso? Jey Uso coming to the table on a different level now. You know what I mean? Taking on these young guys and these future players, and Braun Breaker and Braun Strowman with the Penguin as their as their wise man, and Paul Heyman. How you guys feeling about this? You guys excited for this? Is this going to sell a lot of tickets? Is this going to close the show night 1, night 2? The Oracle, that's what you're going by?
Yeah.
I wish I had a clip from the Matrix where she says, "Take a cookie." Remember that? Remember at the end, and she says, "Here, take a cookie." That I wasn't thinking ahead, but there you go. It's the Oracle. But how you guys feeling, brother guy? How you feeling about this? Roman Reigns, Jey Uso reunite for SummerSlam. Is this big? Is this bad? Is this going to print money?
So it says night 1 main event all over it.
Really?
And yeah, it says night 1. It says night 1 main event because John Cena has to be night 2.
Oh, okay.
And I'm saying that.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm saying night 1 main event because you got the 2 biggest people that everybody's going to be waiting. There's no way you put them on first. But I'm saying night 1 main event because you got those 2, and I think you're going to do something unique where a new member is introduced, and if a new member is introduced to Paul Heyman's group, that means stuff is really will be out for a while.
Right.
And he made a. Paul Heyman said, "There's a void of leadership here." I noticed Paul Heyman says some
Oh,
things on purpose.
yeah, he
So
does. That's a
yeah,
good
so I'm
point.
like, oh, is this something? Because if Seth is really hurt, or is this just a misdirect? Who's to say this won't be something that it's going to be a uphill battle for them too,
Hmm.
but it's going to be a thing where it's like this is going to set the tone for Clash in Paris. Is that next?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I believe so. Yep.
It's going to set the tone for Clash in Paris with those quote unquote top guys, or can these guys really hang to put them there? Because remember, Bronson Reed was supposed to be one of the headliners for Perth, the show in Perth where Red did
Yeah,
it, but
before he got hurt.
the baby was there.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes,
so
right.
I think
That's
they
when he had
still
a
try.
baby. Yep.
Yeah, they still trying to push him in a sense, and it was the reason he was holding the briefcase this time. They're planting too many seeds for us to really pay attention to, and I
Mm,
think in this match it's going to open up for something else to happen because they always got something up their sleeve. Just when you think you got to figure it out, Triple H gonna go all the way left field for some odd reason. So
okay. Okay. So before I move on to anybody else, what you're saying, brother, guys, and correct me if I'm wrong, you think that they're going to take this opportunity to kind of pivot into another direction, whether, like you said, they add somebody else, and as Paul Heyman said, is a void of leadership, or they start to kind of, you said, plant seeds for, okay, cool, like this is we gotta audit what's going on. We gotta call audible. So now maybe do something with Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker, or so that is that what you're kind of alluding to? That
yeah,
this is
or
this
some allies because we got to start selling some. I mean, Survivor Series too, because we already know Karrion Cross can go to
Oh,
one
yeah.
side and Sammy on the other. We already
that's
know that.
one. There
Yeah,
you go. That's one. So that those guys
you
got
get what
their
I'm
own.
saying? Like we
That
know,
way,
we know
Karrion
they
Cross
got
don't got
something
to be in the
coming,
ring too early or too long. He can do his thing and
right?
kind of get in, get out.
And you, and for some reason, I don't know what's the plan is for Rusev and Sheamus, but are they just gonna keep having banger after banger after banger? And I'm just saying, like the people that's not really doing something that you can insert and
Hmm.
some reason, and add something different. But I'm not saying it will be Rusev and Sheamus, but it's a lot of people on Raw that could have some other, it can be repurposed that
Okay.
we wouldn't even notice. Because even with Grayson Waller being by himself, and they said A Town Down Under is done, where's Austin Theory?
True.
He's
Wasn't he?
supposedly injured.
Oh, is he? But isn't he a Paul Heyman guy
Yeah.
too?
Paul Heyman likes young talent. I don't. Paul
Mhm.
Heyman is a weasel. He's always trying to find
Yes,
the next young stud and
his next meal
hop on
ticket.
that wave. Yeah, there you go. That's
I
perfectly
don't.
the next meal
I don't
ticket.
see Theory. I don't see Theory joining them though. I see him
He
coming
does
back as a
have,
face, if anything.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I do
You think
too. But I'm
so?
saying he do have roots with Seth.
Does it
So
have to be somebody on the same level as Seth, brother guy? Let me ask you that. Or does it because like I don't see Braun becoming see what I did there? Becoming the
mhm.
leader and like having like a main event impact because they have that money in the bank briefcase in hand. Does it have to be somebody? I'll give you an example. Here it goes. You guys ever remember we talk about Boy Meets World, right?
Yep.
On and Pod Meets World. There was a key storyline, and I think I don't know season 2 or 3 of Boy Meets World. It might have been 2, where the main guy there was a main high school bully. His name was Harley, and it was two
Mm.
goons, right? It was Frankie Stachino, and who was the other? What's the other guy's name? Joey the Rat. So it was Frankie
Mm-hmm.
Stachino, Harley, and Joey the Rat. And then Harley got put out of school, and a new guy came in, new guy named Griff, and they were like, "Bro, we're lackeys. We need a
I
leader."
do remember
Like,
that.
you know what I mean? And see, it's coming back to you. And he's like, "Bro, why
Mhm.
don't you guys be your own man?" They're like, "Bro, we're lackeys. We
Yeah,
can't be
can
our
see.
own guys." And then Griff came in, and they started following behind Griff, and it was a funny story out because they tried to follow behind Eric, and they went from being goons to being preppy guys like Eric because they wanted a leader, right? You needed somebody on the same level of the guy that you had that they were following before. Do we go in that same direction? And you're welcome, world, that I just made a connection between Boy Meets World and WWE. This is how
Mhm.
the world stays together. Does it have to be somebody on the same level or close to it as a Seth Rollins, or like you said, or are you okay with, or does it make sense for like another young talent to come into the mix and kind of Paul Heyman kind of pull the strings with, like you said, maybe not Austin Theory, but someone on that level versus Seth Rollins level?
Yeah, because Steph's got to come back. So it's got to be somebody. But I'm just harping on the fact that he said there's a void. What do you say? A void of leadership,
Yeah, because
or
he
we have an
offered Roman
opening for a
Reigns,
leader.
like, hey,
Yeah. And that's why I'm like, it's a reason he said that. Because everything, if you go back and watch the promos, it's like they always drop something. What's the next thing coming? Because we know Survivor Series is coming. And let's
Mhm.
be honest, we don't want Cody in the Avengers again because we're kind of tired of that story. And his Avengers are going to implode one way or the other because he's been
Mhm.
fighting them all the time. So it's got to be a Roman thing. Um, and I think that we're going to see that in some way, shape, or form start to take shape. Clash of Paris will be the stop in for Jey Uso to be the flag bearer until Roman comes back.
Yeet. Okay. All right. How
Oh,
about you?
boy, the leadership.
Yeah.
That point's all. I know he busy right now.
Mhm.
Just something screams Sami Zayn.
Okay. No, I got
And
to hear this.
that'll justify carrying Cross. What's carrying Cross
There
trying
it
to get him to
is.
do?
So
There it
let
is.
me get it straight. Let me get it straight,
Oh,
Brian H.
oh,
Because brother, you sound like he's agreeing with you. Here we go. Y'all starting problems already. Because here we know we're not supposed to do this in Triple H era. But y'all want to go there? We're gonna go there. Ain't we don't duck no smoke. Not around here. So Brian H, you're telling me you getting Sami Zayn vibes. So are we talking about another Sami heel turn? And he's the one that kind of takes up the mantle because he to me would be someone that's like on the same level of Seth Rollins. And then,
Bingo.
Seth Rollins kind of got to fight for his faction back. That would make sense. You know what I mean? Especially the same way that Paul Heyman was upset for Roman Reigns leaving him after WrestleMania. Seth Rollins might be home saying, what do you mean void of leadership? I'm good enough to leave from home. Who told you to invite anybody? And then he invited Roman out of all people. That's like Roman Reigns and CM Punk. Nobody worse than CM Punk are like his worst enemies. Like you don't, you know what I mean? And it's like maybe he may come back and be like, I'm offended by this, but you think Sami Zayn is due for a heel turn. And he would be someone that could step into that role with Paul Heyman and the Brons.
How many people can actually hurt Roman and Jey together simultaneously?
Oh, jeez.
It ain't gonna be Jimmy.
Yeah.
Jimmy busy helping Jacob. It's
That's
really
true.
only Sami Zayn. Sami is the one person, and then guess what? This gets it back to the OG bloodline where it's like, see, this is why we keep white people out of the story.
That's crazy. That's wild.
Same
That's
thing.
something I would say.
Paul Heyman, get rid of Paul Heyman, get rid of Sami Zayn.
Right.
Sami and Sami can go into like, yeah, I finally seen the light. Karrion Kross, it seems like he's been in a crazy way. It seems like he's been, instead of him being defeud, he's been prepping people for the next.
There you go.
Right? Yeah. Look what he's doing now. AJ Styles, I don't think he's going to win the Intercontinental title.
How dare you? How dare you?
He could by all means, right? I just think it might not be next month. Next week.
Okay.
Then you have
got it.
Like talked about him reset. Like there's a transform system to think different. He caused Drew McIntyre to crash out. Right.
Right.
He might not win the feud, but he gets them in a different space. Now it's time for Sami Zayn. And what better way? Like you said, Brandon says lack of leadership. You say equal level to Seth. Who better than Seth Rollins' best friend? And then now it's a three-way because when Seth Rollins comes back, and I also think this also depends on the timeline. If you think Seth Rollins with injuries at work, then Seth Rollins comes back probably at SummerSlam, cashes in on Punk. But if it's a real life injury where he's out for so long, he's come back to an instantaneous pop. He's going to be a babyface.
Right.
And therefore, he'll be going against, but right now it'll be Sami Zayn leading the charge.
I don't think that's a version of Sami we have not seen yet. So, hey, that's a new story to tell. I'm intrigued. Brother Hugh, you buying this?
I like that one. That's a good one. That's a good one. Initially, when Brandon was talking, I was thinking, look, I don't know who would be that person to take over, but whoever you bring in, Bron is going to beef with him.
Which Bron?
Because my bad. I'm sorry. There's Bronson and Bron Breakker.
Okay.
Bron Breakker is going to beef with whoever it is that you bring in, right? The reason I say that is because if you look at his actions throughout the weeks, he's always the one that's ready to snap. He's always the one that's ready for the smoke.
Definitely the goon.
He's the one. If you notice what he did on Raw, he was the one that grabbed the mic from Paul Heyman and was like, "Look, I'm ready.
Yep.
What's up?
Uh-oh.
I'm gonna talk this smack to you, Roman. I don't care who you are. I'm the next one up." So I feel like you're gonna get that faction warfare. Like you're gonna get that you're gonna get that tension within the faction, and those two are gonna have to battle it out somehow, some way. But this is only if Seth is really hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So that's where I was going initially before Bryan said what he said. Now that makes perfect sense to me.
All right.
With the Sammy situation.
So what if Seth is not hurt? Not hurt for real. You said only if Seth is hurt. Does it change if he's not?
If Seth is not hurt, then he's going to return for the most part, right? You could have a filler, and you don't really have to. You know what I'm saying? He's still not the leader. He's just a placeholder. This new person that you're bringing in, per se. You see what I'm saying? Seth could still be pulling the strings from behind the scenes.
That's true. Okay.
So Paul Heyman he still does the thing with the phones, this, that, whatever. So they could pull that back out. And Seth can be pulling strings from behind, wherever he is, in Chicago or watching the Bears or whatever he does.
You said Chicago watching the Bears. Okay.
Right.
Isn't it ironic that he likes the Bears and he doesn't like CM Punk?
Oh man, what are the chances of that? Can you imagine those guys at a Bears game together? He's from Iowa.
Well, in all fairness, CM Punk is more of a Blackhawks fan. The Bears are secondary. Like Seth Rollins is diehard Bears, can tell you about him. CM Punk is admitted like, I'm
Bears.
Yeah, he's more of a Blackhawks and the Cubs fan.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, listen. Like I said, SummerSlam is, I guess, less than 2 weeks away at this point, and the card is heating up, and we're not going to really get into all of that right now because we're going to save that for our SummerSlam preview show. There's going to be a lot going on. It's going to be a lot to have conversations about. But
I'll
yes,
send them via mail.
Yeah, you do that because Bryan H will be on location. So, but when you look at where we're headed, I think we're headed for a good way to finish off the summer when it comes to WWE, and we're getting ready into the fall season. So this will be the first fall with Netflix, right? In WWE.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm curious to see where this goes because it's like when you look at the build around the premium live events, everything has to lead up to something, and they're excited to start these new stories and so on and so forth. But yes, Roman Reigns and Jey Uso. I mean, when I say I think the t-shirts are going to go flying off the shelves.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I mean, no other. I expect they really could probably have their own little section with just sell their two, the Yeet and a Hoo-Wah, but a Hoo-Wah OTC shirt and a Yeet on it, and use magic marker. Don't even do anything special, and just leave it there. And I promise, it's gonna go fly off the shelves. The merchandise.
Roman's gear been mid.
I think it's just like it hasn't evolved. Like it's just like, all right, it looks like the same thing, just reworked over and over again. But maybe he'll bust out something a little more. Maybe he'll give us something a little bit more creative at WrestleMania. But in the meantime, I know Bryan Ace is going to enjoy this temporary bloodline reunion. And so yeah, we're gonna close shop here. I think you guys did an excellent job. I think we did our job, gentlemen. I think we brought some knowledge, some education, and gave some people something to think about, some new perspectives on what could potentially happen, especially going into SummerSlam in just under 2 weeks. In the meantime, like I said, follow us on all of our social media platforms at Wrestling Realm. Subscribe to our Patreon, Twitch, and YouTube at The Wrestling Realm. Now, with that being said, brothers, I'm excited because this weekend is actually San Diego Comic-Con, and so you know what that means, right? We're going to get new reveals.
New Funko Pops.
Sure, let's go. Yeah, let's go with that. Now, I'm gonna tell you what I'm really more excited about, Bryan H. We're starting to get some new figure reviews. As you can see, I got a Jay Briscoe and Adam Cole have had an extreme ladder war over here. It didn't end well for neither one of them. They're probably going to need neck braces or something like that. I'll call the ambulance in a minute. But we'll probably get some new figure reveals, and I'm excited about it because guess what, gentlemen? Look what I just saw. Look what's on its way. Ooh. Oh yeah. Look at him.
You gotta hit the
He's
dance.
walking to the camera. See, look at him. He's walking to the camera. You see it? Oh, yes. So as I get off this show, best believe I will be digging deep to see what has
Now, do
been
you like
revealed.
that, or do you like the red gear? You like that one? You like that gear?
If you don't think we're not getting both, because I sure as heck will. I have his black and white gear from AEW and his red gear. So you gotta have red gear, Penta gear.
Mm.
So I'm
So you don't care about the blue?
Nah,
We can do
keep
without
the
the blue. The blue is okay. Keep that. Nope.
you can keep
Nope.
the belt glow blue. You know, so
Mhm.
Right.
but yes,
I was
and I'm
like, why
sure
did he wear blue? He got fire behind him and sparklers. Take that blue away. Don't wear
he
that.
has his signature colors that he wears, like, and like, you know what I mean, like these are my colors. But yeah, so San Diego Comic-Con this weekend. I'm looking forward to that. But like I said, we're getting out of here. We're looking forward to SummerSlam. Is just less than 2 weeks away. But in the meantime, wrestling fans, do us a favor. Stay wrestling fans. Thank you for joining us. Don't forget to follow us on all social media platforms. Like I said, youtube.com/wrestling realm. Don't forget to follow Championship Culture at Championship Culture _ on Instagram. And don't forget, every Tuesday at 8 p.m., youtube.com/the wrestling realm playlist Championship Culture, where you can indulge in all the championship belt related content, because I know I sure as heck do. But until then, ladies and gentlemen, we got to get out of here. We will see you next week. See ya. Peace.
Houston, we have a problem.
For all exclusive shows and bonus material, subscribe to our Patreon channel at patreon.com/the wrestling_realm. You can watch all of our Wrestling Realm content anytime on youtube.com/the wrestling realm.